Just down the road from the old Seneca Lodge, nestled between sparkling lakes and pristine waterfalls, sits Watkins Glen.
This was pioneer racing.
Since 1948, this historic circuit has crushed egos, broken hearts, and crowned legends.
They'll talk about this one for a long, long time.
It requires everything you've got and heaps more. I know what it takes to win here. 2 trophies, 4 heartbreaks, epic battles, and razor-thin margins.
Man, I can't believe it. Woo!
Now, another bloke from Down Under will give it a go. Shane Van Gisbergen is a street fighter, a road course rebel, aiming to win his 4th straight non-oval event.
You are unbelievable, man.
But the Glen doesn't care where you come from or what you've won. It just demands total commitment and a relentless pace.
Do not look in your mirror. I got you.
The most demanding 90 laps of the season are next.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
He's
to hear his
so
voice
good
even.
here. Yeah, I know it. Just to hear that and bring back the memories, just how good he was around this place.
And it just shows how wild the races here can be. And he had one of the most crazy races here at Watkins Glen with Brad Keselowski. Before we get the engines cranked, let's go to pit road and Dave Burns.
Well, Marty, speaking of wild, I talked to Brad Keselowski about a qualifying incident that produced a pit lane sprint out of the NASCAR champion driver. Brad told me that on the track, I was just trying to get out of Carson Hocevar's way, but then Carson thought I'd blocked him, and Brad didn't appreciate the fact that Hocevar slowed down in front of him when Brad was trying to do his flying qualifying lap. So Brad met behind the wall, and I asked Brad, did that meeting have anything, did you deliver your message to Carson? Did he get it? And Brad said, well, probably not, but I'm over it. We raced today. Let's go to Kim for the 77 side.
Yeah, Dave, a lot of finger pointing because from the 77 team's perspective, they said hands down Keselowski impeded their qualifying lap first. I talked with crew chief Luke Lambert, who told me what Carson did was not even close to what the 6 did to us during qualifying. Luke also said, look, we've made our share of mistakes, but this was not our mistake. And in terms of the chat, they said we couldn't hear anything because Brad still had his helmet on. We'll see if this spills over into the race here this afternoon, Marty.
I got to tell you, DJ, I mean, the list is growing of people mad at Carson Hocevar. If you were mentoring him, what would your advice be?
I'd say, look, young man, you don't have to worry about the driving aspect of this. You've got all of that down pat. Think about the things that in the battles. Pick your battles here. You don't have to worry about some of these things, and there's no reason to make somebody like Brad Keselowski mad over something that small.
So maybe back it down a little bit if you're Carson.
Not on the
Hocevar.
track. You know, things are going to happen on the track, but don't back, just take a little bit of the edge off outside.
All right, will there be a new winner today like Carson Hocevar? Time to find out. Let's get the engines cranked here in Watkins Glen.
Watkins Glen International. Give a big NASCAR welcome to Michael Shearer and co-marshals Malia Briggs and Norm Duke. Today, they are here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Take it away.
Drivers, start your engine!
These just fired engines are about to roar down to the bus stop chicane where drivers go from 175 miles per hour to 95 miles per hour, grabbing gears, bouncing off each other, trying to command this single fastest racing line. So don't stop in the bus stop. Take the express and get out of here, because the bus stop done right can be amazing for lap time, but done wrong, it can ruin your lap time. It can ruin your day. It can ruin your playoff chances. The green flag from Watkins Glen is next. It can ruin your car. Ruin that Monday meeting, ruin friendships.
The NASCAR Cup Series is headed to upstate New York to take on one of the most iconic road courses in all of motorsports, Watkins Glen International. This track, nicknamed the Glen, is well known for its scenic landscapes and rich history. The Glen opened back in 1956 and has been exciting fans ever since. The first Cup race was held in 1957, just 1 year after the track's opening. Since then, fans have witnessed exciting battles and thrilling finishes. Tony Stewart has found his way to victory lane 5 times. That's more than any other driver at this track. Australian driver Marcus Ambrose claimed back-to-back wins in 2011 and 2012. Colombian driver Juan Pablo Montoya has also found success at this track. While other racing series use different configurations of this track, Today's drivers will tackle the 2.45-mile, 7-turn layout. This course stands out from other road courses on the 2025 schedule. Precision and control will be key as drivers navigate sweeping corners and elevation changes at much higher speeds than other road courses. We had the chance to catch up with the driver of the number 2 car, Austin Cindric, who shared why Watkins Glen stands out from other road courses.
I'd say it's the speedway of road courses, especially the layout that we run. You don't run the boot, so you don't have kind of the technical slower corners. Really, the only technical slow corner you have on the track is the bus stop chicane. It's high commitment, high speed. The S's, you're right on the edge, sliding the car. On top of that, the restarts are obviously crazy. The braking into turn 1, and a lot of trust in the guys I'm racing with to pull all that off. But it's a fun place and a really great natural born road course.
Last time the Cup Series raced through this landscape, Chris Buescher came out on top. With just 3 races left in the regular season, the pressure is on. Who will rise to the occasion and conquer the Glen today? Will a driver win their way into the playoffs? Let's watch and find out.
It's that time of the year again. Yes, we're back at the Glen. If you're looking for a colossal event with an awesome atmosphere, this is it. As NBC Sports on USA welcomes you to the NASCAR Cup Series from Watkins Glen, it's Go Bowling at the Glen. And it is a beautiful day, but it is a warm day. Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard work this afternoon. Hi, folks. Lee Diffie along with Jeff Burton. Jeff, I'm just going to ask you the question that everybody's asking. Who's going to beat Shane Van Gisbergen today?
Well, his success has made Cup drivers have to step up, and the guy that stepped up first is Ryan Blaney. He's already beat him once. He sat on the pole in qualifying, but do not count out Chase Briscoe. Of everybody on the racetrack, he's been the fastest driver over the last couple months.
Okay, just 3 to go until we get to the playoffs. Who's on the hot seat there when you look at the points?
Well, let's look at the RFK battle. Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece, those guys separated by only a few points. I think there's a lot of intensity in that camp.
I asked you the question, who can beat SGV? Well, we know he's human, he is beatable, and it happened here 1 year ago at the hands of RFK's Chris Buescher.
Yeah, what a great race. It was so much fun to watch these guys go at it. SVG trying to use a little bit too much racetrack, gets into the wall, opens the door, and when it got open, Buescher took it from him, put it in there, little contact, goes on to win the race.
What a finish that was. It was epic. And let's hope we get something like that this afternoon. There's every chance. And as Shane Van Gisbergen told Jeff in that track walk earlier in the show, that still haunts him to this day. Let's check out the starting grid brought to you by Go Bowling. And as Marty and Jeff have already mentioned, Ryan Blaney on the pole for Team Penske, and it's the organization's 150th. SVG starts alongside row 2. Chase Briscoe, keep an eye on him. His numbers look good. Let's go back to row 3. How about this for some qualifying excellence? Kyle Busch, a 2-time winner here at the Glen. He's alongside Michael McDowell. Row 4 shows us some good work from Alex Bowman and Carson Hocebar. Remember, the youngster finished 3rd here a year ago. Christopher Bell and William Byron, last weekend's winner, they make up round 5. Back to the 6th row, Joey Logano, and yes, the defending race winner, Chris Buescher. To row 7, it's Austin Cindric and Ty Gibbs, who could be a dark horse here today. Let's talk more about this Go Bowling at the Glen with Marty Snyder. Marty?
Lee, when it comes to road courses, Christopher Bell is always strong. But when I spent some time with Adam Stevens this morning, he said, listen, the summer has been very up and down for us on the 20 team. We got those 3 wins early in the season. We need to focus this weekend and next weekend at Richmond, 2 of our better racetracks. Take advantage of those and just build some consistency heading into the playoffs. Sure, they'd love to get win number 4, but right now the goal, just some consistency for this 20 team going into the playoff run coming up in a couple weeks.
Row 8, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski. Brad needing to win to get in the playoffs. Row 9, Ryan Preece. A.J. Allmendinger always a threat on road courses. Daniel Suarez. Chase Elliott. He can flat get it done on road courses as well. Row 11, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin. Denny trying some new driving style today. Let's see how it works out. Row 12, Justin Haley, Josh Berry. Row 13, Austin Dillon, and all the way back starting in 26, Kyle Larson. Kim.
Let's talk a little bit more about A.J. Allmendinger. A.J. said the car was good, but not great yesterday. He definitely needed more lateral. And the team has had this race circled for a long time, but they said, we aren't desperate. We're just trying to get better. And look, A.J. was honest with me this morning. He said road courses are the hardest they have ever been because the field has stepped up. So I don't have the advantage that I did 10 years ago. This team looking for a win if they want a playoff spot.
Continuing the grid in row 14, Todd Gilliland will start next to Riley Herbst. Riley making his first start here in the Cup Series at the Glen today. Row 15, Eric Jones and John Hunter-Newichet, teammates at the Legacy Motor Club. Back in row 16, Cole Custer and Ty Dillon. Cole Custer only top 10 came in this race in Mexico City in 2025, trying to improve that with another top 10 today. Row 17, Zane Smith and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Back in row 18, we have Noah Gregson. Finished 11th in his only ever start here a year ago. He'll start next to Cody Ware. Back in row 19, Catherine Legg, top 20 in 2 of the last 3 starts. She's next to J.J. Yaley, and then rounding out the field in row 20, Josh Bilicki. Dave.
Steve, we heard Jeff Burton mention 26 starting spot for Kyle Larson. I asked crew chief Cliff Daniels about that this morning. He said, as a team, we missed the carousel, that long sweeping right-hander, and they need to make up some ground from here. I said, how do you do that? He said, we just have to find when to be on the different strategy to try to find Kyle a way to the front.
Time to take a look at the track map here at Watkins Glen and some of the elements, fellas, that make it so special.
Super speedway of road courses, you are absolutely flying. Going downhill, a 90-degree right-hander to turn 1, and that leads to a very important turn 2, which starts the S's. If you don't get the first part right, you absolutely destroy your speed climbing this hill, and it's a long back straightaway heading to the S's.
Well, that's why the S's are so important. A big passing zone here into the bus stop, a combination of a right, left, right combination. As you turn out of the bus stop, very awkward unloading out over the curb into the sweeping, what seems like forever, turn 5, the carousel, Jeff, and then back to the second longest straightaway to really the most prominent left-hander, turn 6.
Great passing zone right there, heavy braking. And then that leads to a downhill, very, very tight turn 7. See a lot of incidents right here because it gets very tight, trying to carry a ton of speed to the start-finish line.
The official pace car for today's Go Bowling at the Glen is the 2025 Toyota GR Supra. As it heads the pack and we get closer and closer to the green flag being dropped. As you know, in the lead up to the green flag, there's always pep talks inside every car and every team. But let's hear what was said with the 71 of Michael McDowell.
All right, boys. Appreciate everybody's hard work. You know, this is what we live for right here. It's what we do. Let's make it happen today.
Yes, sir. Today's our day. Gonna go get them.
Came close yesterday in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race until he was involved in a massive wreck. It was super scary. And as he mentioned a little earlier, he's still a bit sore today, Steve, but he's ready to go and feels he can win.
Yeah, as the drivers come down pit road, very important to check their pit road speed. One of the real challenges here, not only are you backwards, but you can see it right here as Blaney gets to that final third of pit road. It actually starts to crest downhill. Not so bad for the drivers, but if you get a tire kind of gets rolling away from your team, it can absolutely go down that downhill pit road. Jeff, we talk a lot about the track. It's the Watkins Glen we've known and loved for years, but one change that we're going to see right away, the restart zone has moved to before turn 7 before the right-hander. So right here, this is that short straightaway you see on the left side painted on the wall. We will restart before the right-hander. Why the change?
Well, it changed because there was so much chaos on road courses in turn 1. Saw a lot of, really kind of silly wrecks. Kind of didn't, just kind of ruined some really good races. So consistent with all the other road courses, move it back. And what happened in the races that have already happened this week, it really changed what the preferred lane was, because the outside lane actually accelerated better.
Yeah.
The problem is you get to turn 1 and now you're not in the preferred lane. It's going to be interesting to see what lane drivers pick throughout the day.
All right, let's check in on pit road before we get going here. Marty, you kick us off.
Ryan Preece, the first one out of the playoffs, coming off back-to-back top 5s for the first time in his career, Lee, and gained 19 points on his teammate Chris Buescher at Iowa last week. But when I talked to Derek Finley, his crew chief, this morning, he said, because where we're starting today, 17th, pretty deep in the field, I'm not sure what strategy I want to play. 2 stops, 3 stops. I'm going to see what the other teams do. I would love to get stage 1 points. That's my plan as of now. But I think the plan for everyone, Kim, is going to change all day long.
Well, Marty, Chase Briscoe is on a bit of a heater with 3 runner-up finishes in the last 4 races. And at first glance, that might seem like a good thing. But race teams, well, they're always looking for more. And for this 19 team, they told me the only second place finish they're happy with is when they finish runner-up to SVG at Sonoma. Otherwise, those second place finishes they view as missed opportunities. Crew Chief James Small told me playoff points are a premium. The best way to bank those is to win races. Dave, they firmly said we have to win more.
Kim, when Ryan Blaney in the yellow and black 12 won the pole over the entire field, the focus became, hey, you defeated SVG at his own game. And Ryan said, whoa, slow down, people. I beat him one day. Let's talk about tomorrow where I've got to beat him for 90 laps. He said the coolest thing is I get to race around him. I'm usually way far behind him. I'm going to watch what he does and see what he does. That is, if I give him the lead.
It was a nice blend after qualifying, Dave. Not only with Blaney on the pole, but Ross Chastain tucked in behind his Trackhouse teammate. Kyle Busch with an improved performance. Michael McDowell in the mix. There's a lot to look forward to and to get excited about this Go Bowling at the Glen race this afternoon. Just 3 to go in the playoffs. By the way, this is turn 6, and we will talk a lot about this in today's race because this is a revised restart zone. Right where they are here is where we will have cautions today. You can see the 2 lines there. That is the restart zone. So we'll focus on that a lot now. And Ryan Blaney is up to speed. He wants to convert this pole into a victory, but Shane Van Gisbergen around the outside. Go Bowling at the Glen is underway, and it is on. Down to turn 1. Blaney on the inside. Some lockups, but fairly clean thus far. Blaney trying to keep Van Gisbergen out. SVG wants that inside line, but Blaney's going to lead him up the hill the first time through the S's.
SVG with a smart decision right there on lap 1. Could have kept it on the right side of Blaney, going up the S's. It gets very tight up there. That was a good decision.
Chase Briscoe tucks in that 19. Ross Chastain right behind. This is the moment here where Van Gisbergen lost it a year ago. And that'll be firmly in his mind, Steve.
He said he relives it all the time. The mistake made getting into that wall a little bit as they run wide off the carousel. Nothing really out of bounds. The only place you could shortcut would be the bus stop. Now into turn 6, the left-hander. Everyone kind of matches, minding their P's and Q's deeper in the field. AJ Allmendinger will jump to the left side of Bubba Wallace. That'll be a hard pass to make, though, as now we have a battle right here. Hocevar and Kyle Busch side by side.
This will be interesting heading down to turn 1. Hocevar's got the inside line. William Byron behind. Hocevar tucks in.
Oh, Byron jumps out of line, though. A little bit of momentum lost by the 77. We'll see if they can concede as we see the 54 as well inside the 22. People know, Jeff, 90 laps is just not a very long race.
You don't want to lose track position, but giving up 1 spot is not going to end your day. You have to be smart this time of the race. You are battling for track position all the time, but like we saw with SVG on lap 1, there's a time and a place, and going up those S's right now is really not the time. But that's going to change. It's going to get more aggressive.
It's pretty aggressive there, exiting the bus stop. This is good for Blaney because a year ago he got taken out in a lap 1 multi-car incident where he had to be held back to the garage area and didn't even stand a chance. Now he leads this race a year on.
Yeah, that wreck with Blaney actually is what changed the damaged vehicle policy, because they had very little damage to the exterior of his car, but it broke the steering, which forced a retirement. In today's race, that would allow him to make mechanical changes and come back out on the race, although it being laps down.
Let's ride along with SVG. Coming to the start-finish line. Look on the left side of the racetrack. Great brake markers. That's really a visual indicator for the drivers to know when to start braking. Use all of the curb and turn one accelerated. Look at the racetrack they use, all the way off the racetrack. Why? That sets you up to start the S's. That allows you to run straight up here, and that makes this corner much easier. If you don't use all the racetrack, it really hurts your opportunity to carry all the speed down the back straightaway, well over 160 miles an hour already. Heavy braking zone, again, good braking marks. This right here is where SVG is so fast. He carries so much speed into the S's. Look how much ground he gained on Blaney in that one place of the racetrack. That's where his advantage is. But Steve, it is a very difficult place to make passes.
It is, and I think the carousel being that long withstanding corner, that's a little bit more comfortable for the over guys. And the over guys have been running here forever. Now we have a 90-degree left-hander. This has changed dramatically with the runoff to the right. Neither driver going to use it too much, but you can race now side by side. We actually saw SVG get in a huge accident here in turn 7 yesterday in the Xfinity Series race.
He told me this morning he was a little sore after that because of the extent of the impact, but feeling pretty good and ready to go out and try and continue this amazing run that he's had. Chase Briscoe's off to a good start. Chastain, McDowell, Busch, Hocevar, William Byron, his teammate from Hendrick Motorsport. Alex Bowman tucked in right behind, and then Christopher Bell. Here's Ty Dillon making an inside move, or attempting to, down into turn 1.
So hard to complete that pass, and you're going to see he's actually going to come under attack from Smith to his left, just because the driver on the outside doesn't have to stay underneath that curbing. I'm not a fan of all the runoffs. I wish we found a way as an industry to make the track be required or preferred. I don't want it to become an officiating thing. I hate track limits. Jeff, I just wish there was something we could do to be maybe treating the surface, as we see a contention here. Herb's going by Denny Hamlin. Denny on a bit of a free fall here, down 8 since the start of the race. I would just love to see the drivers kind of be restricted to the racetrack, or at least prefer to be on the racetrack.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin he talked about trying a different driving style, trying to apply it here. He thought he could use it at other racetracks, but so far, he's going the wrong way.
And just used on the 24, way off the pace.
Yes.
Way off, and lost 2 positions to Christopher Bell and the defending race winner, Chris Buescher. So that puts Buescher into the top 10. Let's have a look at this. And it's teammate on teammate. Bowman on the inside of Byron.
Yeah, Bowman was there, and Byron just turned down on him. I'm not sure if he thought Bowman was going to give him that spot. A little bit of contact, lost momentum, lost several spots.
Still under attack.
Yeah, that's what happens. You lose that momentum, and everybody, oh, they see it. They try to jump on you. Riding along with a Toyota Cam, Ty Gibbs. Look at the vision. We just rode with SVG. You could really see the S's. You could see the inner loop. You get right behind another car, it becomes very difficult to really hit your marks, understand exactly where you are on the racetrack.
Dave Burns, let's talk more about William Byron.
Well, you guys mentioned going the wrong way. William just radioed the crew. And by the way, they usually radio the most pertinent information when they come past the start-finish line, because they know their radio signal is good. He told the crew coming by really tight, especially off of the carousel. So on that turn exit, Jeff, when you're tight coming off the carousel, you lose lap time.
Yeah, tight, Dave, the car just does not rotate, doesn't turn the way the driver wants to. So what that means is he just has to wait before he can accelerate. And the guys behind you, they're not waiting, so they gain momentum on you, and that's a common theme. I heard, spoke to a lot of drivers this morning, and so many of them, the majority of them by far. Oh, Kyle Larson with problems.
I got no brakes.
No brakes is the call.
Yeah, I heard no brakes, and you heard Cliff Daniels get right on the radio to bring it to us. So it sounds like the 5 will be coming to pit road. He was running 24th.
But 24th from quite a distant qualifying effort of 26th, which is highly unusual for Kyle Larson.
Well, that's odd. No brakes this early in the race. Replay here.
He just loses it.
Yeah.
All on his own. He said no brakes. So obviously he has enough brakes to slow down a little bit, because if you got to the end of the front stretch with 0 brake, you would go straight into the barrier, as we've seen drivers unfortunately do over the years. So, but something is amiss with the 5 car of Kyle Larson, whether he has no rear, no front, or maybe the pedal itself is just long. You know, he was reporting a brake issue. We'll see what he does. Like right here, if he has no brakes, he's using some brake in that corner. It's obviously just not what he wants to do. We'll have to see if he brings it to pit road or if they try to ride it out. Remember, stage 1 comes to an end in 13 laps.
Frustrating weekend last weekend in Iowa for Larson, where he was getting hit by everything and everybody, and he was pretty unhappy about that. And then that frustration continues this weekend. So, led every lap has Ryan Blaney. He only ever led 2 laps here at the Glen up until today. So, what a contrast year on year. However, that mirror is full of that WeatherTech Chevrolet of Shane Van Gisbergen. Dave, tell us more about Larson.
He's made it to his pit stall, Lee. Can he bring the car to a stop? Gingerly, yes, he does. And you mentioned last week at Iowa, Cliff Daniels told me they've got that car home. It was destroyed in so many ways. But again, this weekend, mechanical issues for them. Steve, what would be your checklist as you hear the driver complaining about brakes?
Well, it's clear to me looking at just the helmets that those aren't the normal tire changes. Those are the mechanics going over there right now. Reading his radio, he says he could pump the brake pedal up and get a pedal, but then when he steps on it, it slowly decreases like you're bleeding the brakes. That tells me they have some sort of fluid leak. It's not just air in the system, so that's what I'd be looking for, Dave. Much like these crew members are doing right now, looking underneath the hood, see if there's any fluid on either of the calipers. Nothing obvious, but this is going to be hard to diagnose. It's probably a day ender at least to be competitive for the 5.
That's a tough one for the 5 team. Meanwhile, it's going great. If you're Ryan Blaney, out in front, led every lap. Super day here in the Finger Lakes district of New York, and super for Ryan Blaney, leading Shane Van Gisbergen, Chase Briscoe, and then Ross Chastain. Positions unchanged since the drop of the green flag, but something that has changed is that the driver who was meant to be in this race today, who is not. Tell us more, Marty.
Yeah, that's Connor Zilic, and it was fantastic, Lee, and countdown to green to see him back at the racetrack. It's even better to talk to him right now. I think number one, what everyone wants to know is, how are you? But number two, what happened? Do you remember much of what happened?
Yeah, first of all, I'm doing okay. Very grateful to be able to walk away from that, and I guess I didn't walk away, but very grateful to be walking today and you know, just be all right. You know, thank you to all the medics who took care of me, everybody who reached out and you know, wished me well. I do appreciate it a lot. And yeah, I was climbing out of the car, and you know, obviously the window net was on the door, and as soon as they started spraying water, you know, my foot slipped, and yeah, the last thing I remember was being halfway down and falling. So yeah, glad it wasn't any worse, and that the collarbone is the extent of the injuries. But yeah, hate I couldn't make it to the race today and give myself a shot to go get a good result for Trackhouse and Red Bull.
So what happens from here? Because obviously you're contending for an Xfinity Series championship. You have the benefit of no weekend or no race next weekend. You're not racing Richmond. So what happens next, and how long until you're back in the car?
Yeah, we're still working out with all the doctors to figure out what's going to be the next steps, but I've got a little motivation from Shane, my teammate. He had a plate put in and raced the weekend after, so I don't know if I'll be that quick, but hopefully my young bones will heal fast, and I'll be able to get back in it as soon as possible.
It's fantastic to see you back.
Thank you, Marty. I appreciate it.
All right, Connor Zilic at the track, Lee, and hanging out with everybody, talking with folks in the garage area. So cool to see him back after the incident, after the race yesterday.
Yeah, it's terrific, Marty. And look, out of respect to the teenager, we chose not to show the footage because, frankly, it's not pleasant.
It's not pleasant. It was scary. His leg kind of got caught in the door opening, and you know, that's 3.5 feet. He's standing, and like, you know, stand outside on your front stoop and imagine kind of falling off. So it's amazing to talk to him. I hate that he broke anything, but it looked like it could be even worse. So now I didn't know that SVG got a plate put in and race next week. I got some more information there. These race car, Jeff, I've said for a long time, you drivers are not built like everyone else.
Well, the good thing is he's in really good shape in the Xfinity point. So he, you know, even if he took a race off the hill and got a medical waiver, he can still compete for a championship. So he and his doctors, they'll make some good decisions.
Denny Hamlin, it's going to be a tough day from here. 29th at the moment for the driver of the Progressive Toyota Camry. Kim, tell us more.
Yeah, Denny quiet on the radio, but that new style for Denny that you guys have referenced on road courses, I asked crew chief Chris Gale about it. He said it did not show up as better pace yesterday in practice, so there's still a lot of questions on if it would even help. So they haven't seen the fruits of Denny's labor yet in the changes he's making on his approach to road courses. Chris also saying the changes Denny made could be to the detriment of other things you do as a driver on a road course.
So I will tell you from a driver's standpoint, in today's world with limited testing, it's very hard to try something major and immediately get it. It's going to take an investment if you want to try something different in an effort to find more speed. And sometimes that investment is a bad race. And at some point you have to decide, okay, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to be better. I have to move on, or just continue down the path. And Denny's willingness to try something different at this point in his career is a strength, in my opinion. You have to always be looking to be better.
Unfortunately, I think it's drastically needed. He ranks second when you look at insights on overall speed for the entire year, 32nd at the road courses. So just a far fall from where he is on everything else that he drives.
There's a good scrap going on here between Ross Chastain and Chase Briscoe, and Marty Chastain knows that Shane Van Gisbergen's going to be his teammate for the coming years because of that contract extension announced this week. Let's talk more about SVG.
You know, it's funny, though, when you talk to Chase Briscoe after that Sonoma race, Lee, where he finished second to SVG, he said, the frustrating part for me is I could see SVG wasn't even going 100%. Could SVG be not going 100%, sitting in second place as well? Listen to the radio.
How are your tires there firing off? Not too bad. Probably a little better than him. He just got a bit more rear end than me on exit. Copy that.
SVG later said in the conversation, I'm just hanging out, Steve, saving my rear tires. So let's have a discussion about that. How much will that be a factor today for the drivers, kind of saving those rear tires? It kind of became the story of the Sonoma race a few weeks ago.
Yeah, this tire compound seems to start tight and then basically quickly just go away with the back of the car. And one thing at Sonoma, it's more acceleration. Here at Watkins Glen, it's so fast, it's just leaning on it. No lateral grip, which can make it nearly impossible to make speed here.
Well, and he has a boost too because his dad just arrived last night from New Zealand to cheer his son on in pursuit of Blaney.
At Watkins Glen, where green flag pit stops are underway. The 19 of Chase Briscoe completing his stop, lacking rear grip was the biggest complaint, Dave.
Ross Chastain had a top 4 qualifying run. Car is pretty good here. In fact, they told him he was getting better, especially into turn 1 every lap. So working on his craft, a very fast Chevy this afternoon for Ross.
A lap or 2 earlier than expected with 4 to go. Normally we see 3 to go. I think the strategy to this is to get new tires, get a little clean air, and try to run a fast lap. And also, if we get a yellow, then your pit stop is already done. We'll see if Blaney or SVG pit this time around. They could run really a whole nother lap because they'll get 3 to go here. As the leader, they could close pit road with 2 to go. So leaders stay on the racetrack, no surprise to me.
Pit this time, pitting this time.
They go pit this time. So I would imagine the leaders will pit. Really, the only question for me is who doesn't pit, whether Buscher, Bowman, Priest are going for points. You see McDowell on pit road, Marty.
With the first pit stall on pit road, McDowell hits for some changes here. He said the car was a little bit lazy on the turn and too free on exit. Kyle Busch, you saw him go a little bit long in his pit stall. They had to back him up just a little bit. He said really good through the S's, but he struggles on the bus stop, especially on the exit of the bus stop. And boy, Kyle Busch, good thing this is under caution. They're going to lose a lot of track position here with that pit stop.
Oh, man, just right through the box. You see the wheels turn. Did a nice job committing. The crew did a good job getting the air hoses out of the way. So minimum time lost for a pretty big mistake. You see, he's what, a few car lengths behind McDowell. Just gonna have to let the whole thing blend to see what he really gives up. Well, there's one right there. There's Bell. Here comes Byron.
Well, and as we saw over the opening 16 laps, just how hard it is to pass today here at the Glen. So any positions that you give up on pit road, it's going to be extra hard to get them back on the track.
Leaders should be on pit road this time. There they are, Blaney, SVG right to the rear bumper, making up as much time as possible. Now it's a battle of pit crews, Marty.
SVG described the balance as, quote, decent, Steve. He said he gets close to the 12 and he just loses all of his grip, but he feels like overall he is better than the 12. We'll see if the pit crew can make up that time, Dave.
I don't know about that, Marty, because this morning Jonathan Hassler, crew chief for the 12, said on reverse stops, our crew has been one of the best this year. 2 other tracks where they've done that this year. So they'll try to back that up here. Ryan Blaney said the balance on this car is okay. They'll get 4 Goodyear tires, fill it full of Sunoco fuel. Let's watch the race off of pit road. Will Blaney hang on to it, Lee?
Sure does. Yep, pretty straightforward, no worries. Blaney stays ahead of the WeatherTech Chevrolet.
Stays ahead of the 88 and also stays ahead of any other car that has pitted. So these two lead the strategy of cars that have taken service. You see Briscoe Chastain climbing the hill now. That hands the lead of the race. No shock to me of who decided to stay on the racetrack. The 17 of Buescher, the 48 of Bowman, the 60 of Priest, basically all the drivers of the playoff conversation. Also, the 9 of Chase Elliott. I believe that is purely a points battle for the regular season championship. He's trying to run down his teammate William Byron.
So we need points because we're in this really tight point battle, and we all got points. So we really didn't lose anything. We didn't really gain anything, right? So you love the opportunity to get these points. But here's Buescher. He'll get 10 points. Bowman, 9. Priest, he'll get 8. So everyone needing them is actually getting them.
1 lap to go in this opening stage, presented by Credit One Bank. Last year was an interesting mix of 2 stops versus 3 in the Go Bowling at the Glen race. Look at this between William Byron and Kyle Busch.
Wow, that's impressive.
Ty Gibbs has a front row view of this. He says, I might get out of it. I might just try and clear them both. Not quite close enough. This is wild heading up into the S's. It's a lot more serene for Chris Buescher. Out of turn 5, regular line over the other side of the strip and heading towards turn 6. All right, so he's going to pick up where he left off here at the Glen. And that is in a winning position. Chris Buescher in the BuildSubmarines.com RFK Ford wins stage 1. And Alex Bowman and Ryan Priest follow him across the line, as Jeff and Steve mentioned, for those much needed points. So there's stage 1. And pretty straightforward, other than Kyle Larson. Certainly straightforward for Ryan Blaney from pole, led the majority of the laps. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota, Let's Go Places, and by Go Bowling. Go to gobowling.com to find a center near you. Now, they bowled a strike that clocked over 140 miles per hour. They've bowled a strike further than anyone thought possible. Now they're taking things to a new height, literally. Veteran driver Michael McDowell used gravity and guts to successfully complete the world's highest strike, soaring over 150 feet from the top of the grandstands to the infield. The new record shows how Go Bowling continues to bowl it fastest, the farthest, and now the highest. And appropriately, here is the Go Bowling on board of Michael McDowell, who had a good, stable, steady opening stage. Let's get an update on Kyle Larson. What's the latest, Dave?
So, Lee, unfortunately, after the crew pushed him back to the garage area, this is where the 5 car has remained. They changed the brake lines. They asked Kyle to pump the brakes to see if there were any leaks in the system, and crew chief Cliff Daniels radioed back to him. He said, nope, we're going to have to do it again. We have a seal issue, so we'll have to try that again in a few minutes. Steve, you know this, painful to try to fix something like this in the middle of a race, and you've got to get it right.
Yeah, it's painful, and there's going to be a lot of discussions. We talk a lot about just the size, the number of men and women in all these organizations. It's for quality control to try to avoid issues like this. Now, for the 5 of Kyle Larson, who's already won 3 races on the season, you know, he can look back and say, well, if you're going to have this issue, now's a great time. But what aren't they going to learn about this Goodyear tire that we'll see at the Roval? What aren't they going to be able to do? Could they score some points? And now this is the fear that keeps a crew chief up at night through the entire playoffs, because a simple, you know, O-ring or seal of a fitting has eliminated the 5 from contention, and that can just be what knocks you out of the playoffs later in the year.
It's been that kind of year for this team, really, if you think about it. They've, 28th, some seconds, 4th, 35th. It's been very up and down.
I think everyone that didn't pit would pit here. They have enough fuel to keep going. You could run about 31 to 33 laps. I would just be scared to start at the front with old tires. These tires have lost about a second and a half, depending on the car. But we'll see if a crew chief gets crazy. Buscher, Bowman, and Priest, to your point, Jeff, they're kind of all racing each other. So, they were all forced to do that strategy. Nobody really gained or lost anything, but if you chose to pit before the end of the stage, you would have given up at least 6 or 7 points to your competitor.
It'll be interesting to see if Buscher sets the stage, if everybody else just follows him. Well, the RFK cars did, but Bowman on pit road, Marty.
Alex Bowman coming down pit road, but Ryan Priest did not come down pit road. They're going to run a little bit long here, committing to a 2-stop strategy. John Hunter Nemechek finished 6th in the stage. He did come down pit road. Alex Bowman on pit road in front of you, Kim.
Yeah, actually, talking about Chris Buscher, they debated the option to try and use track position in clean air or pit and be 25th on the restart, ultimately deciding to stay out. He asked, how many laps would I have to go? They said 17, it's a big ask. More laps without falling, and they would be in a better spot in the final stage. Dave.
Alex Bowman off of pit road now, 4 tires and fuel. This car has been good all weekend long, and they believe that this was the time to pit. He needed some stability through the S's and some overall rear grip. That stability through the S's is important. Fastest part of the racetrack, a good place to pick up time.
Only 3 cars yet to pit. Chris Buscher, Ryan Priest, Chase Elliott. As we get ready to begin stage 2 here at the Glen.
Chamber of Commerce weather here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York today. The Go Bowling at the Glen. Stage 1 went very quick. Very quick.
Yes, it did.
Marty Sider and Dale Jarrett joining you here on the Peacock Pit Box. And should we be surprised, DJ, that the 3 drivers right around the cut line all stayed out and earned stage points there in stage 1?
No, no surprise at all. I mean, you have to play the game to a certain point. These guys are trying to do the right thing at this particular time to solidify their spot if there's that many points available for them to get. So I understood that. Chase Elliott battling for that regular season championship. Yep. He lost some points to Byron last week. So everything kind of went as expected. You said the weather's great and the fans have come out. They love the event that this is here at Watkins Glen.
But here's the deal. They all played the same game. They all kind of matched each other with points, DJ.
Yeah, so it did no gain whatsoever, but I don't like starting up there on these older tires when you've got some really fast race cars right behind you. That was never a good feeling for me.
This restart should be fun to watch, Diff, with those older tires up front and clearly some quick cars right behind them.
Yeah, including the pole man and the guy who's led the most laps today, Ryan Blaney's first one up in 4th.
There's going to be a lot of crew chiefs on pit road really watching this restart because there's a big deviation kind of to the plan coming at the end of this stage. Half the people I talked to said you have to pit before the end of stage 2. The other half said you could stay out, run through the end of stage 2 and pit one more time. Only thing you need to know is one plan means you start with fresh tires, one plan means you start with old tires. So, well, you get a little dress rehearsal here. Busher, Priest, and Elliott are going to start with old tires. So the rest of these engineers and crew chiefs will have their eyes peeled to see if they're able to pull this off.
You mentioned over a second of fall off of the tires from the time they started the race to the time they pitted, but now the tires have cooled off. So the question is, and no one knows this answer, they're getting ready to find out, how do these tires fire off? How much grip do they have? To your point, Steve, everybody wants to know because if it works, then that may change your strategy.
We're about to get a graphic view of how it works.
Well, the opposite side of that, if they pit, they'd be where Bowman is, who's 31st.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to keep an eye on that as well.
Here's that revised, that renewed, new restart zone. Chris Busher in the BuiltSubmarines.com Ford with his RFK teammate on the outside. They lead the field to green. Now here comes Shane Van Gisbergen on the inside, splitting Chase Elliott in the middle of him and Blaney. Down to turn 1. And Blaney does not want to relinquish that spot. There's a slight touch. Blaney's hanging tough, and here comes Briscoe on the outside.
Yeah, the 9's in a bad spot. The 88 now side by side with the 12. I like what the 12 is here for this left-hander on board with Michael McDowell back a few rows. Too wide in the narrowest portion of the racetrack, and they're able to pull it off.
That's at 140 miles an hour. Van Gisbergen on the inside, heading to the bus stop.
Rewind it to the essence will not, sorry, the chicane will not work. Gonna have to work it out. SVG uses that restart to get in front of Blaney.
And you see the old tires just not working for the 9 or the 17. It's only about a half a lap. Both have lost spots. Priest now has gotten away. I think 88-12 will easily go by, but that great restart for the 60 will give him some breathing room, although I expect 88 to drive to his inside right here in 6.
No choice in the matter. SVG to the lead. So how far can Priest go, Jeff? That's a good question.
Well, he did so much better of a job than his teammate did in managing that restart. And now he's got multiple cars between he and Busher.
What a shot that was from Christopher Bell's front end. Diving on the inside is Tyler Reddick. Good clean run there. Now the super pressure's coming for Priest, Steve. From behind, they're all over him.
Yeah, you see the 9 of Chase Elliott losing spots. You mentioned Priest right here under attack for Briscoe, the 17. Now remember, Bowman would kind of be the bogey line, right? He pitted for tires. Now he's all the way back at 31st. Really, at this point, you just don't want to get pushed off track. And that's what Chastain is thinking. I'm going to give the 60 a shove and fight my way through. The 17 going to try to fill the hole. The 24 is going to be thinking 3 wide right here.
Marty.
Yeah, I just checked in with Derek Finley. I said, how far do you want to push it here? He said, we're going to see how he can maintain. But Steve, I agree with you. I think they're looking at the 17 and the 48. So where do we mark out with those guys once we run a little bit? Because any time that they bring the 60 into pit road from right now on, they can make it on one more stop.
This is a tough position for Buescher to be in, Jeff, to not get run over, to hold your line. I mean, look at that zig, the zag. The closing rate is just so high.
Well, it's also not just the cornering ability of the race car, it's the braking ability of the race car. Low grip tires, the car does not slow down as well, it does not corner as well, so everybody around you has way more speed. You have to know when to fight and when not, and you almost have to give them a lane. You have to give them the lane you want them to have to not slow you down any more than it has to be. There's an art to this. Get yourself pushed offline, you could lose 4 seconds in one lap.
Toyota on board with Christopher Bell, having a look at one of his JGR teammates up ahead in Ty Gibbs, who's having a really nice run today. He's cleared McDowell.
They make it look so smooth. That camera angle shows you just how rough some of that curbing can be. How about Priest has kind of settled in now as everybody stacked up behind him and doing a nice job.
There's Bubba Wallace in that all-pink McDonald's Toyota Camry for 23.11, and he's side by side with Chris Buescher, and that paints the picture, the difference between Priest and Buescher. To your point, Steve, what a good job Ryan's doing.
Whoa. Reddick all on the curb, shot way up the racetrack.
Whoa. They're not done. Not done.
Keselowski squeezes him one side to the other. Todd Gilliland's now in the mix in the 34. This is on board Chase Elliott. There goes Eric Jones.
Chase is saying, what are we doing? And you heard the crew chief say, pit, pit, pit. Enough of this. We've got to get some tires on this race car.
Well, 48 of Bowman, only 4 cars back, who was on the same strategy pre-yellow. He decided to come get his fresh tires. The 9 has fallen almost all the way to the back of his teammate. So Alan Gustafson says, we're giving up time. Let's just come to pit road, jump onto a different strategy. Oh, man! Whoa! There it is. You saw it live. The 21 gets spun around. This might close pit road for the 9. Big contact for the 21. Should be an instant yellow.
Josh Berry. And the Freightliner Ford for the Wood brothers.
No caution yet. Should try to jump the pit road right here. Let's see if he makes it. He's so far back. He's going to try to turn right. There he is. Will he make it to pit road before the yellow comes out? No yellow. So the NASCAR is going to let this. I thought that would be an instant yellow with that much contact. It wasn't. The 9 of Chase Elliott instantly got to pit road.
Saw this yesterday in the Xfinity race. They tried to hold the caution as long as they could. If the field was past the incident, they would hold it, Kim.
Yeah, and Chase saying the balance is good. Feels like it's okay when I get a decent lap. Obviously, though, rear grip going away on those older tires as they put fresh stickers on. And, as the fueler falls over the car, that's going to slow up the stop just slightly. Wow.
Caution's out. And the reason is debris, exit of turn 5 where Josh Berry spun. He makes it back to pit road.
That part of the racetrack, we have seen so many big wrecks throughout the history of this racetrack. Here it is right here. They're behind Chase Elliott, who's really slow. A little bit of contact from Ty Dillon. Gets Berry moving in the wrong direction. Great shot here.
This is Zane Smith. Boom.
Yeah, what's Zane gonna do? There's just nothing you can do in that situation.
Yeah, it's aggressive by Ty Dillon to be pushing on the 21. He knows he's stacked up behind the 9. And then I thought that contact with the Armco was going to be a yellow on its own. NASCAR held the yellow, allowed the 21 to drive away, then it ended up being debris on the racetrack.
That's a big impact.
Yeah.
And this is where the huge impact was yesterday. Here's the replay of Chase Elliott's stop. Kim reacted to this.
Yeah, watch the gas man. He comes in with this second can right here and trips over the tire. Gas can goes on the car. Now, luckily, he was the only car on pit road, so there was really no penalty to a slower stop. But this could have been much worse. That is 100 pounds of fuel falling and flailing around back there. So great thing, and a great job by Chase not to leave on the jack. Good communication between crew chief and team, but man, that can be scary when that fuel gets going. That's John Giannato, big, strong John Giannato, keeping that gas can from hitting the ground.
Dave?
And so the Hendrick guys do things a little differently than some here. I talked to their pit crew coach this morning, and he reminded me that the tire changers stay where they are, if you will. They don't reverse direction. So the rear stays there. He becomes the front becomes the rear. He said the hardest part, though, is what happens at the back of the car. They're not used to all of that stuff going on back there when they reverse these pit stops. So, Steve, that's where the confusion, not confusion, but just practice that they don't do every week. And this week caught it just a little bit out there.
The best thing I can equate it to is layups. Remember when you played basketball as a kid, Lee, whichever your dominant hand was, you can make a layup, and whether you're a good or a bad basketball player, that feels pretty common. Then you try to use your non-dominant hand. I could barely even make a layup. So for the gas man, the tire changers, it's the same job, but it's awkward. You're stepping with the wrong foot first. You're moving in the wrong direction. The choreography, the timing, just everything is backwards. We talked about it in the pre-race. It's the smallest detail. And the big difference, Jeff, is pit stops used to be multiple seconds slower. Now these teams are doing it basically just a few hundredths of a second slower than they do it at the ovals.
It's amazing to watch them. Those guys are so trained. They do such a great job. Another thing that happened there, which is really important at this racetrack, most road courses for that matter, is just the communication from the spotter. There's multiple spotters around the racetrack, and sometimes because of that, there's miscommunication because you normally only have one guy. The spotters did a great job of telling Chase, caution's probably going to come out, and pit road is open. Small things make a big difference. We've seen races won at this racetrack because the spotters see an incident, they get a guy on pit road at the right time and others don't. Good communication from some guys that don't normally do it.
Yeah, a lot of bluffing here. No real takers at the front except for Ty Gibbs getting off strategy a little bit, the 21. And then I assume we're going to see the 60 of Priest, 17 of Buscher as expected. But some more takers back there, Marty.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs, one of those takers. Chris Gabehart making the call to bring him down. So 61 to go here. Clearly a fairly even split, and that might help in the tire situation later in the race. Speaking of tire situation, Ryan Preece said, listen, if we stay out, we're just going to keep bleeding spots here. We cannot do that. Although it does feel like, Kim, the car pretty good on the longer run.
Yeah, his teammate at the top of the screen, Chris Buscher, didn't manage the restart on old tires very well, just lacking in rear grip. They did not think that caution was good for their strategy, but they still think they'll net out positive.
We'll see how that shakes out for them, Kimmy, when we come back and continue stage 2. back in time to see them go racing in the second stage of Go Bowling at the Glen. Shane Van Gisbergen leans Ryan Blaney, and then SVG's teammate Ross Chastain tucked in that light blue and white car.
SVG giving Blaney to the outside, believing he cannot beat him off this corner. He was right.
Look further back, that orange and black Bass Pro Shops car of Chase Briscoe, William Byron, and Kyle Busch. Look at Busch, rounds up the 24 and is on the attack.
I can't tell you how impressive it is to be the outside through the left-hand S, what Kyle Busch just did to this 24. This is the second time we've seen the 24 just instantly lose pace. We thought it was momentum last time. Maybe it's momentum again, Jeff, but the 8 car clearing him through the left S on the outside, a move you rarely see.
Yeah, I think he said, all right, William, you or I are going to lift, and it's not going to be me. And he put William in a position where he just had to lift to continue to fight the rest of the day. Either that or wreck.
These two guys were just getting into it, Austin Cindric and Michael McDowell. Did you see that on the exit of the bus stop? They were roughing each other up. Bubba Wallace had a front row view of that. McDowell goes wide, tries to get the inside run on Cindric. Not quite close enough.
That could be a dangerous spot to make a pass just because sometimes the driver doesn't expect it and the spotter can't see it. So not that it's a wrong place to make a pass, but you gotta be careful there's not contact just because drivers aren't expecting you to be to the driver's right.
Good job going forward for Cindric. Qualified 13th, running 7th.
Back here, Ty Gibbs, he is the monster car with the green roof number on the right-hand side. Left is the 45, right is the 54. Remember, he came for those tires, and this is what it looks like for the 17 of Buescher. New tires, but what do you do with them, and where do you go?
Oh, where he goes is right up the inside, past Tyler Reddick. There's Ryan Preece. He's just ahead of Chase Elliott. They all came in for those fresh tires.
Oh, it's madness back here. It is so aggressive. The back of the pack, everybody trying to get through there. Remember, they're chasing the guys that pitted earlier. These guys just put on new tires. They want to try to take advantage of that new grip.
Dust, debris, just every lap, every corner, somebody's dropping a wheel. I love this shot. Look at the Chevrolet onboard camera, that right rear suspension. Now as he turns to the right, watch the left rear suspension of the 54, 54. Kind of squats and rolls to the left. We talk about a rear sway bar, whether you run one or not. That's what it controls, right? When that 54 turns like that, how much the rear of the car actually rolls. Anti-roll bar, by design, by name. A lot of tire lockup. And we have heard from the drivers and the crew chiefs that once you lock the tire up once, it gets really easy to lock up multiple times. Another battle.
Oh. There was side slap there from Daniel Suarez on John Hunter Nemechek. That's how intense it is, and that's all the way back in 23rd and 24th.
Oh, these guys hate each other right now. It's just, it is hand-to-hand combat. Denny Hamlin, aggressive move to the bottom. Chase Elliott not having it.
Hope you like that shot as much as we do through the bus stop there. That's the bat cam that's going at 100 miles an hour parallel to the cars. Awesome shot.
Chastain really starting to put the pressure on Blaney as we come around to 6 to go. I'm not sure this is going to be just an easy decision by the entire field. The opportunity to pit with 3 to go is available. I think that's the move I would make. I think it gives you the best opportunity into the final stage. We saw how much old tires struggled at the beginning of this stage earlier. So I don't think you want to stay out on old tires, but the decision is about 3 laps away for the leaders.
Kim, what you got?
Yeah, we've got a big name in the house, Michael Jordan here cheering on his 2311 drivers. And good reason to be cheering for Bubba Wallace today. Bubba running in the top 10 currently. And, you know, we used to come to road courses and know Bubba was going to struggle. And he's been honest over the years. There was a time he hated them. But over the years, he's worked hard on coming in with a plan, studying, understanding where he needs to position his car to make speed. And he feels like he's definitely starting to click with things on road courses. Still knows that there's a lot more room to grow. Right now, happy with the car. He wants to find a little overall grip, but brakes are good, he said. And he feels like they have a great car today.
MJ had a good week too. He finished second in the White Marlin Open on his boat Catch 23. They landed a 71-pound Marlin.
I bet Michael wasn't happy with second.
No, but he did win almost $400,000.
He was happy with that.
4 to go here in stage 2 at Watkins Glen, and the man who led the most laps in that stage, 12 of them, Shane Van Gisbergen, coming to pit road. He said the rear tires were much better on this run, but now the clean air made him just a little bit too free. The 88 team had a really nice stop in stage 1. We'll see how this stop goes. Pretty clean, Kim.
As Chase Briscoe continues his stop here on pit road, he said the balance was better that run, but he's still struggling with confidence in 3. Dave.
Ross Chastain said I had better turn that time with no real loss of grip. So 4 here in fuel, and he's gone.
So we've got a split at the front, and look at this, between Trackhouse teammates fighting off pit road. Van Gisbergen will win that ahead of Chastain, but we've got a split with Blaney staying out.
So Blaney will have the opportunity to pit this time because as the leader of the race.
Behind, you're coming to 2 to go.
Coming to 2 to go. So Blaney can come while coming to 2 to go because that won't close pit road. So SVG's on pit road or off pit road. Let's see what Blaney does. If he pits, then it'll be where he rejoins the racetrack. Now it's a stage win, which is a playoff point. So Blaney might say, you know what, I want to take the playoff point. His car is so good, this is a tough decision. Let's see what he does. Staying on the racetrack. So Blaney is going to stay. I don't know if that'll allow anybody else. Nope, they're all married to this strategy now. So all of these teams are going to stay out and get points. That's a real shot for a lot of guys. I was shocked we'd see this many guys stay on the racetrack.
Dave.
So that points battle is interesting. I did talk to Jonathan Hassler about that this morning. He said, yeah, we can gain some on the 45 and the 20 cars. So we need to stack some points if we can, when we can. It appears this is one of those times.
Also further back in the pack, remember the battle between Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece. Alex Bowman pitted kind of in a traditional way. The other guys stayed out. Well, look what has happened because of that. Alex Bowman in 8th. None of those other guys are in position to get points. So if this stage ends like it looks like it will, Alex Bowman will get points. Those other 2 will not.
Look at him stacked up in front of Buescher.
Preece is in 11th.
Yeah, Preece
did a nice job. That's where you look at his teammate Chris Buescher's back in 15th. Here's Alex Bowman.
Well, and this is a mix, right? Because Bowman's trying to hold off to 43, 47. The 60 right there with that bright blue hood is now to the inside of it. I think that's Riley Herbst. Is that the correct monster car? Too many monster cars out there on the racetrack for me to keep them all straight today.
If you don't think a point matters, watch this battle.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's Ty Gibbs with the fresh tires back here. Remember, he pitted under the last yellow. Look at this pushing and shoving.
One to go in this stage, presented by Credit One Bank.
Look at
this. And it is wild. Coming off turn one, heading to the S's. Look at this madness. Oh, boy. Eric Jones, hang on to it. Great job.
I thought that was going to be guardrail for sure for the 43 of Jones, and as he gets it gathered back up, the race continues at the end of the backstretch. Yeah, you did. You got slammed out of the line, no doubt.
Ryan Preece now in 11th. Can he pick up that one spot to get a point? Probably not. Chase Elliott on better tires. All kinds of pressure.
A little bit of smoke. I knew it was from somebody. 42 of Nemechek sent around on the entrance of the carousel. I saw the smoke, but you can't tell if it's like tire lockup or what it is.
First it was Eric Jones, and now his teammate.
It's a bad lap for Legacy Motor Club.
Oh my goodness.
So there is the end of stage 2, and the poleman, Ryan Blaney, will grab maximum points. Have a look a little further back. Who else is going to grab points? We've been telling you a lot about Bowman. Alex is going to grab 7th, and Ryan Preece indeed does grab 1 stage point. That was a nice comeback. Look what happened here. Teammate on teammate. A little hip and shoulder out into the grass, but then what happens to John Hunter Nemechek later on?
Yeah, the 42 gets into the S's and just cannonballs his teammate. The 43 unhappy. And somebody else got the 42. Look at the camera. He's not going to make it. Oh, man.
Oh, no.
And hard to tell what happened there. Contact already made. It was out of the bus stop. We'll have to see exactly what happened to the 42.
NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Go Bowling. Go to gobowling.com to find a center near you. Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express card, and by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. Do you know more than 5 million visitors come here to the Finger Lakes District each and every year, and when you see sites like that, why wouldn't you? There's 5 primary lakes that make up the Finger Lakes, but in the region there's some 11 lakes, and it's just beautiful at this time of the year, maybe not in the winter. But this is what happened to John Hunter Nemechek. Ty Gibbs gave him a little assistance.
Yeah, John Hunter is not going to be happy about that. Coming basically to the end of the stage. 42 is definitely a little off the pace, struggling with the handling, but just gets shipped by the 54. I mean, hit it square into the bumper and sent it to the tires. I don't really know how you can see it any other way. Now, I haven't looked at the other 49 or 41 laps of the race to know if the 42 got the 54 at some point. That could very easily happen. We might be seeing the retaliation of the frustration, but in this singular event, very clear to me that the 54 just sent the 42 for a ride. Getting to that point in the year, Jeff.
Well, we talk about how aggressive it is in today's racing, today's NASCAR, and the high speeds of this racetrack, which has been consistent since the day we first came here. Contact in that corner, it will send you around. It's almost impossible to control the race car.
All right, so pit road is open. Here we got the takers coming in this stage 2 break, and just several laps, 3-4 laps before the end of that stage, we had our first point of separation between the 2 guys who have dominated this race in Ryan Blaney and Shane Van Gisbergen. Kim, AJ Allmendinger's in.
Yeah, pits from the 4th position. A lot of debate on the radio whether they would stay out or come down and pit, ultimately deciding fresh tires were worth it because he was very loose in the right-handers, Dave.
Interesting you say that, Kim. Brad Keselowski told me this morning tires will be a factor. Their fall off, the fact that we may want them to make our way through the field, but it's all about strategy and tires. They'll take theirs here and head off pit road.
Seeing 2 guys there who would really love to. They need to win to race their way in to the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. After today, only 2 to go.
Back at Watkins Glen, about to start stage 3 today, and I think it bears mentioning we're not even halfway in the race yet. Only 43 laps down. Stage 3 is very long, 50 laps here at Watkins Glen today. Marty Snyder, Dale Jarrett joining you from the Peacock Pit Box. And DJ, we talked about how the points game would be played today. If you look at the points earned all day long, the problem is everyone playing the points game is still playing the points game. They've earned the second, third, and fourth most points when you look at the guys around the cut line coming into the day.
Yeah, but the issue is if you don't play that game, then you're going to put yourself in a hole there, and you don't need that anymore than what you had. So they had to do this in making it happen. Now you got to go get everything you can get.
Yeah, Lee, and I mentioned, you know, this is a long stage 3 here. I think we're also starting to see the tempers flare up a little bit after that incident a moment ago with Ty Gibbs and John Hunter Nemechek. So we'll see how this stage 3 plays out.
Yeah, 20 laps for stage 1, 20 for stage 2, 50 for stage 3. Need to remind you that Court is in session on USA Network's new thriller, The Rainmaker, based on the best-selling novel by John Grisham. Don't miss the series premiere this Friday, August 15th, right here on USA Network and streaming on Peacock. And I want to say that stay tuned for an extended sneak preview during our post-race show coming up right after the checkered flag. So, I mentioned earlier about that separation. When we go back to green, Stevie, Ryan Blaney, who has led the most laps in his road course career in Cup Series competition, he'll see that flag first. This man we were riding with, Shane Van Gisbergen, will start in 12th.
Yeah, so Blaney, Byron Bell all have the oldest tires, as you see on our screen right there. They also are going to need the most fuel. So those three are going to have to absolutely wait on fuel during their pit stop. I feel it's the same way for Bowman. Starting with Gibbs, I think they could do a normal 4-tire stop and probably get enough fuel in their car. SVG needs even less fuel, but I think he's going to want to take 4 tires anyway, so it's not going to be a big decision. We expect that you can run 31 or 32 laps under green, so that means about lap 58, the pit window opens, but these tires slip and slide. Do you want to pit at 58 and have old tires at the end of the race? We'll just have to see what all these crews decide.
Lights are out on the Toyota GR Supra, ready to go back to racing. The beginning of stage 3, let's go. The man who led the field to green all the way back at the beginning of the day, Ryan Blaney of Team Penske, has got William Byron all over him. Look at Gibbs on the inside of his JGR teammate. 3 wide into turn 1, multi-lanes. Ryan Preece goes right around the outside. That revised restart zone is working. We're not seeing that traditional turn 1 chaos. It spreads them out enough that we've had really good restarts today.
Good restarts and great racing. Hasn't taken any racing away. SVG getting by Chase Elliott, getting into the bus stop, up to 8th place. Picked up 3 spots on the restart.
Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch side by side out of the carousel. Busch on the outside line. What an encouraging day and weekend it's been for the driver of the number 8.
Whoa, Kyle Busch, aggressive underneath Hamlin.
And right there with Tyler Reddick as well.
Wow, contact. He's around. Kyle Busch, contact with Hamlin entering turn 7.
How much is the damage going to be on that 8? He continues for now. Hamlin drops back.
We had mentioned earlier that 2 wide in the combination of 6, 7 gets very difficult.
Look at all the track position lost.
Van Gisbergen clears his teammate. Daniel Suarez continues to climb. He's up to 7th from 12th.
Here's a replay. See, Hamlin almost put 3 wide, and I just don't think Kyle Busch knows it. Kyle Busch turns into the 11 car. He does not know they're 3 wide getting into that corner.
Yeah, Chastain is to the bottom of the 11. The 11 has to run the middle. You see him out of the gas trying to, and then right there, the tires hooked together. That's when real damage can be done to the suspension. Let's take a look on board with Hosvar in the 77.
Here's Kyle Busch.
It's a very tight corner. and it is difficult for spotters to see that part of the racetrack to call you 3 wide.
Yep.
And I just don't think that Kyle ever knew that there were 2 cars underneath him. He only knew about the 11.
It's another week with a pretty decent car for the 8, and just luck's not on his side.
Alex Bowman's made his way to 4th, but Alex is kind of on his own strategy up there, pitting on different laps to Blaney and Byron, and also for Christopher Bell behind him, and also Preece and Van Gisbergen and those others. Let's talk more about the 48 with Dave Burns. Dave?
So Lee just checked in with his crew chief, Blake Harris. He said, yeah, not many on our strategy. We're kind of in the middle of that, but the balance of the car has been so good so far that we haven't had to make very many changes for Alex. One more stop for them. He said the key is, when does that caution come out? When can we jump?
The idea would be you would want to pit the lap before the yellow. Unlike at ovals, you don't lose a lap here, so you'd like to come to pit road, have the yellow come out. It's kind of like a freebie set of service. We've seen that happen here before. Really nice run by the 48. Second most points earned today, 13, only second to Blaney's 14 through the stages. See him right there. Buscher and Preece 10 and 9, so it's kind of matching, gaining a little, but at least not losing.
Bowman having the kind of day that he wants. He doesn't want any chaos. He just wants to have a good finish, not have any issues. SVG getting underneath the 60. I'll tell you something, that 60 car,
it's been a good day.
It has been. Preece has been driving that thing hard, bouncing off curbs, getting after it. Look at his car sideways up the S's.
Toyota on board with Ty Gibbs. He was just told on the radio, Steve, if you keep your head in the game, you can win this thing. Do you feel that's possible for the young driver at JGR?
I think he's on the right side of the strategy. I think the 88 is in a good spot. The 54 is in a good spot just because their required fuel needed. I think their pit stop can be short. So I agree. I think he's right in this. I mean, he's in position. He's inside the top 10. I like that conversation. I mean, the 88 is making moves, but you can only see him a couple cars up.
A few laps ago, Ty Gibbs was frustrated. Pit box trying to step in, get his head in the right direction.
Fox, full turn worth of and I am confident if you stay in this game, you're going to have a shot to win it. So stay in the game.
Chris Gabehart trying to make sure that his driver stays plugged in. You can hear his frustration through the beeps that his car just doesn't respond with the front end like he wants it to.
You know what I liked about that? It wasn't a request to stay in the game.
Right.
It was a demand to stay in the game. He followed up what he said with stay in the game, Marty.
And Ty Gibbs has stayed in the game so far. Jeff in 7th, right in front of him, Ryan Preece in 6th, having a fantastic day, as you guys mentioned. So they pitted at lap 30, Steve, and there was a lot of conjecture in the garage area this morning. Would you pit as soon as the window opened to make it to the end of the race? But with all this tire fall off, Steve, would you want to go a little bit longer, split stage 3 in half? I think a lot of teams are thinking as soon as that window opens, and for a lot of the Ford teams, that window opens in 2 laps, they might come to pit road and try and make it to the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, I think 40 to go is just way too far out. I could, you know, most of these guys can run 31, 32, 33 laps. So to pit with 40 to go and then try to save gas and save tire, I just don't see that being the right opportunity. I think that we haven't seen a lot of movement through the field, but the guys that stayed out on much older tires couldn't hold their track position earlier, and I would just expect to have some late yellows. So while the late yellows will help your fuel tank, they're going to really abuse those Goodyear tires.
Check this out, Jeff. I know that you jumped. We both saw it at the same time.
Yeah, it's a very difficult place to make a late pass. Ty Gibbs doing all that he could. A little bit of contact there with Preece, but that's just good hard racing.
That thing came off the final turn sideways as he continues to shadow Ryan Preece. Up front, Ryan Blaney has a 1.5 second lead over William Byron, and Van Gisbergen has gone from 12th to 3rd. There they are, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, right there.
So you saw Ty Gibbs stay to the right side of the road on this exit to try to kind of fake Preece out a little bit. you have to get left. If you go right there, you can make some things happen. But Priest just did a really good job of fighting that off the last lap. But Ty will try that again. Still tight, not happy with the way his car is driving.
"40 laps to go here at the Go Bowling at the Glen. Can it be a pole to victory lane day for Ryan Blaney?" Exciting careers are available now nationwide, ensuring the US Navy has its next generation of submarines. If you're looking for a stable, impactful career, visit buildsubmarines.com. We build giants because it takes one to build one. Appropriately, we're on board the buildsubmarines.com Ford as we welcome you back to Go Bowling at the Glen. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series here on NBC Sports on USA. Lee Diffie, Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton with you from the Glen on a 90-degree day. Yes, it's a warm afternoon to go racing for 90 laps around here. I want to show you a couple of things while we're away, while we're in commercial. We're on board with Michael McDowell.
Oh, heavy breaking into one. Contact with teammate Carson Hocevar. Carson goes around.
Meanwhile, back at the front, the two guys who started on the front row in this race on two different strategies. Ryan Blaney continues to lead the way, but for how much longer?
About one corner inside SVG.
Much newer tires, right?
That's
Fresher
right.
Tires.
That's right. And this isn't just, I mean, fresher tires, faster car. The 12 has drove an amazing race. I think this is successful so far of what they tried to do. They gave themselves an opportunity in front of the 88. Now remember, I have Blaney needing more fuel when they come to pit road, him, Byron, and Bell. So this is a big advantage for the 88. You see on our thing, just low fuel remaining for Blaney, Byron, Bell, and Bowman has a little more fuel on board. First car to come to pit road with 36 to go, the 60 of Priest.
Yeah, we mentioned the window would open here pretty quickly, especially for the Ford. So Ryan Priest comes down pit road, so to his teammate Chris Buescher. Priest has been very happy with the long run speed today. He's going to need it with 36 to go, Kim.
Still the biggest complaint for Chris Buescher, just lacking rear grip. Another air pressure adjustment to try and give him grip for this last run.
I haven't seen the tire life be good enough to think with 36 to go, you're just done for the day. I think late caution could change this. The leaders, that could be a different decision, but I think SVG can run a few more laps as Chastain just sends Briscoe. Oh, here we go.
Wow. Bouncing his way back onto the track. That was full motocross style.
Yeah, Ricky Carmichael will be impressed with that move across the whoops.
Yeah, Briscoe wasn't impressed, I can promise you that.
No. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, we always see when it finally comes to somebody wrecking somebody else, but there are 100 of those that happen all day long, not to mention all season long, Jeff, and you drivers kind of file those away.
So here's Chastain and Wallace up through the S's. Ross is on a mission here, and Bubba's not giving him anything. So that opened up an avenue for Chase Briscoe. Then hit the curb.
That's right.
It wasn't malicious. It was just circumstantial.
That's right. The left front tire got to the left of the curb. The car starts hopping, and he's going to go up the track whether the car's there or not. We see the 24 on pit road, Dave.
Change the lefts, change the rights, full of fuel. Have to wait a little bit here. You've been talking about that, Steve, because they last pitted on lap 16. But here goes Byron. Would probably like to not be back on pit road before the end of the day.
I think this pit window is going to be kind of a long. You know, the car's going to drip in maybe 4 or 5 cars at a time. Some ovals we go to, it looks like yellow. Every car comes at the same time. We'll see at what point enough cars have pitted that SVG thinks he needs to come to pit road. Remember, yellow, he would restart behind the cars that have pitted. That's the whole point. Staying on the racetrack as I would probably run it even in the mid-60s, as crazy as it sounds. Blaney has to come because he needs gas. So his decision to pit is kind of set from decisions earlier in the day. For Bell and SVG, I think you stay on the racetrack and try to have some fresher tires for late in the race.
Tell us more, Dave Burns.
Coming to pit road now, Lee, the car's been just a little bit tight for Ryan Blaney. Doesn't want to turn, but he said it was better than the first run during that second run. And imagine what he's been going through today, watching SVG around him, some of the moves that he's made. He just saw another. Did he learn enough to win this race today, Kim?
And Austin Dillon coming off a top 10 finish at Iowa, his first top 10 since Texas in May. That car said, when I get in traffic, no forward drive, still lacking rear grip. They made an adjustment to get out of the carousel better.
Oh, look at this angry little bunch. They're back at it. They're still at it. Briscoe around Suarez. Now it's McDowell's turn.
You know, Briscoe, when he entered the bus stop on the right side of another car, he had to be nervous. He just got punted out of the way a few laps ago. You know, back up front, SVG, he has been putting some flyers down. He took off and ran some mid-73 second laps, and that is absolutely flying.
Chastain was able to clear Ty Gibbs. Speaking of the 54, the Monster Camry, let's have a listen to some recent radio.
We're right now, so we gotta do something.
Well, I'm sure you got a real good understanding that from inside the car, so, you know, you can call the strategy if you want, or we can keep rolling, but I wish...
Oh boy, things are getting tense at JGR.
It's an interesting dynamic they have currently over there with a young driver, Ty Gibbs, an experienced crew chief with Gabe Hart, as we see the 9 on pit road.
Yeah, the 9 they tell you chassis adjustment. He said, I just got to keep the left rear on it. Remember, so many right-handers, a lot more load on the left side tires here.
That's a great point, Kim. When we talk about tire wear and rear grip going away, the left side seems to be the challenge as the 54 drops his left side. He's under attack by the 22 of Logano.
Be an interesting conversation tomorrow, you know, with Ty Gibbs and the entire team, right? Because what you're hearing from the pit box is, hey, We got the strategy. What I need you to do is make lap time.
Right.
I need you to focus on getting the best possible speed out of this race car. Let us worry about the strategy. You have to trust us. But it just doesn't seem like that's where they are right now.
I will do the best I could to go as fast as I can.
Every sport, we've been reading so much about psychology, about trying to control your emotion in the moment. And I think that's what you're seeing in the 54, the crew chief wanting him to control it, Marty.
Ty Gibbs' teammate Christopher Bell coming down pit road. He's had no real complaints about the handling of the car to Adam Stevens, but 2 laps before they pitted, he did say the brakes are starting to go a little bit long, and you saw them have to wait on fuel, Dave.
All good right now for Alex Bowman. He'll be on and off of pit road. Lefts get changed first, rights get changed second when you're at Watkins Glen. Drew going after it. This should get him to the end. Where can he end up? He's good on points now, but does not have that win to ensure him in the playoff.
Alex Bowman having a good day and was hanging in there. So let's see what this, with 32 to go, how it shakes out for the driver of the number 48 Ally Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsport. Remember, he's in a 10th spot. He's in that no win zone, but above the line in the playoff points picture. But it's been a productive day.
'54 continues to bleed spots. This time it's the 4 of Noah Gregson going by.
This time.
He does have fresher tires, about 10 lap fresher tires. Hit this time, I think that's the radio of the 54 it is. He's gonna make the right-hand corner, come to pit road. This would be a good vision of these backwards pit stops, right? So remember, you can only use 3. You cannot drive through 4 boxes, a common penalty. He does a nice job only using a couple, puts it right on the sign, Marty.
Yeah, frustration all the way around for this 54 team, from the driver's seat, also from the pit box as well. Pitting with 31 to go and fresh tires, and they lose the jack as they try to go from the left side to the right side. Steve, you talked about it in Countdown to Green. These reverse pit stops are just tough on everybody. Further on pit road, that's Riley Hurt. Both monster cars on pit road right now.
We covered it last week at Iowa, this new move where the jack man swings the jack behind his back, and they make it look very, very simple, but now going in reverse, the handoff normally between the quarterback and the running back. This is from the jack man to the jack man. So let's take a look. He's gonna hang the right rear tire, and watch this man right here. He picks it up. First he loses the grip, then he loses the handoff behind his back. So just a messy pit stop all around for the jack man on the 54.
And when the pit box, the guys on the pit box and the driver, they're yapping at each other, mad at each other. Those are the days you also have a bad pit stop.
For sure.
It just seems to unravel all at the same time.
Let's take a look at the Toyota driver update, and it's Chase Briscoe who is the highest placed in 3rd at the moment.
How about Nemechek? Remember, he was backed into the tires, and he's up to 10th. Now, I know some of that is because of the pit cycle, but that 42 car still has reasonable pace compared to cars on the same tire. I would have thought it was damaged more than that.
He last pitted on lap 42. So that's only 5 laps different to the race leader, Shane Van Gisbergen. And Ross Chastain, his Trackhouse Racing teammate, there is some 18.5 seconds between the 2 teammates when they restarted near the same spot. SVG didn't mess around on those opening laps to the restart, in gaining many positions quite quickly.
This is a part of the run at every road course, Steve, that Ross Chastain, teammate to SVG, wants to know, how can SVG be 4/10 a lap faster?
Right.
This is where they are trying to catch this guy. They're able to run pretty close to the same speed as he does on new tires, qualifying, practice. This part of the run is where he is just so fast.
Really dear friend of his from Australia, and also a fellow racer and championship big event winner, Paul Morris. Paul Morris is kind of like the go-to driver training guy now in Australia at the Norwell Motorplex. And I asked Paul yesterday, what makes Shane Shane? And he says, with a very humble, no egotistical philosophy of always learning. I can always learn to be better. And he's influenced a lot of other drivers that way. So let's see if he can go 1 position better than last year and get the win here at the Glen.
28 to go at Watkins Glen. Shane Van Gisbergen comes to pit road, and this was the plan all along to split stage 3. In fact, they kind of clued SVG in on what the rest of the team strategy were. He said, I'm in no hurry to pit. Just tell me when to come to pit road, and 0 complaints about the handling of the car, Dave.
And you can see how far behind Ross Chastain was there in the 1 car. Yet he believes this weekend he's been pretty close to the speed of his teammate in the 88 car. So what about this stop? They need 4 Goodyear tires. They need a long fill. That's a little bit shorter fill of Sunoco fuel. And he said it was definitely too loose this run. So a little air pressure adjustment that's already been made on one of these tires or more as he hits pit road, and now will be done.
88 first car on the racetrack that can now make it on fuel. You look off in the distance as they climb the S's. There he is, the 24 and the 12. Those are the other 2 cars that have pitted with the idea of making it to the finish. So SVG currently leads of cars that can make it on gas. Nice job by Byron and Blaney running great laps on those new tires. They've closed that gap on SVG. Now, unfortunately, though, SVG has the position and the fresher tires.
Came in with a 19.7, basically a 20-second advantage.
Even door, bumper, clear, clear, clear.
Battle for 15th. AJ Allmendinger coming on pit road. Kim.
Yeah, and for AJ, they wanted to go a little bit longer to try and have some tire advantage for the last run. AJ saying the car does not have enough grip to make the moves he feels like he can if he had grip. So they'll try and make an air pressure adjustment for fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
Here's Brett Keselowski and Austin Cindric as they enter the bus stop. So at the moment, this is 2nd and 3rd, but they still have to pit. So this is a good scrap going on, but not representative of where they are in the big picture scheme of things.
Now, I can't make, these guys can run longer to try to have a tire advantage. I mean, that's really what they're thinking is, hey, let's run this tank of fuel all the way dry, come in and get tires. If we have it late yellow, we can stay out, and others may choose to come to pit road.
Brett Keselowski, a few years ago, he had very little pace on road courses. He really struggled, but the last couple years, he was going to work on his craft, and he has brought much better speed. A really good job of improving.
Austin Cindric in the snap-on Ford comes to pit road, so that changes that picture, Dave.
It does, Lee, and when you grew up racing all kinds of different cars on tracks like this, rights and lefts, you always have one eye from the competition on you. The car's been pretty good for Austin today. Fired off better on that run, a little better balance, so they'll leave it where it is as they change tires and add fuel to get to the end.
All the way, all the way, all the way.
Now, as a driver, this is just the pit. You cannot have a penalty here, right? As much green flag racing as we've seen, 25 laps to go. If it maintains a green flag, a pass-through would be just a huge penalty.
Rejoins right behind Chase Elliott, who's in 29th. Here's Chase Briscoe, race leader on cycle at the moment. Pocono race winner has had some 9 top 5 finishes this season. It's been remarkable in his first season at Joe Gibbs Racing. He's been the king of qualifying. It's been an incredible season. Now, how far can he go in the playoffs? We'll begin that question after the next 2 races following the drop of the checkered flag here today at Watkins Glen. Marty?
Lee, this long green flag cycle continues here at Watkins Glen. Paul Wolf's original plan coming into the day was to pit as soon as the window opened in stage 3, but he saw everybody else kind of doing that, so like he always does, doing something a little bit different for Joey Logano, deciding to pit here with 24 to go.
77 of Hocevar also come to pit road. He was running inside the top 15. Oh, the 8 and the 99 here heading into the bus stop.
It gets really tight through here. Very narrow, 99, like we saw earlier.
That's right.
Ross Chastain just hitting that curb on the inside edge.
Well, you
shoot
enter
up the racetrack.
Right, you enter, Jeff, because you have to leave the 8 room off the right side guardrail, and you just get too low, and you end up driving into that pothole, for not a better description.
It's almost not enough room for 2 wide on a corner entry, and you have to really give and take. And the guy on the outside, he's not very happy, right? He's just got run into.
He was able to bounce back out just ahead of his teammate in Austin Dillon. So cycling through, Eric Jones has now just hit pit road. And as everybody cycles, Shane Van Gisbergen continues to climb. He's up as high as 5th right now. So it's Briscoe, Keselowski, McDowell, Gregson, and then Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, and I believe the 88's only running as hard as he needs to push his rear tires to stay in front of the 24.
23 laps to go here at the Glen. Gonna duck away for a quick break, come back, as all this will cycle through, and then we get down to racing to the checkered flag. Two laps to go here at Watkins Glen. And time now for Ones to Watch, presented by Credit One Bank. Jeff, who you like the look of?
Yeah, I like Ryan Blaney. I know that SVG has tons of speed, but Ryan Blaney is fast also. And I think if we get the caution at the right time, Blaney has enough speed with put some new tires on this thing. I think on a short run, he can take the fight to SVG. Remember, he won the very first Roval race in Charlotte, so he's a good road racer, and I believe this team needs a jolt, needs a win heading into the playoffs.
Well, I agree that Blaney has impressed with the speed today. As expected, Shane Van Gisbergen has also impressed. I thought he not only has had speed, but he's raced with a lot of kind of temperament and maturity. He's only pushed his car when he needs to, as hard as he needs to, and I think he's doing the same here today, saving some rear tire for the last 21 laps.
We may not necessarily think about this man here, William Byron, as a road course specialist or good, but we have to remember that he won here 2 years ago. He has got great finishes here at the Glen, and he's the series' most recent winner. And just this week, Williams said, I really feel that win in Iowa, even though it was nail-biting, running out of gas. He said it's got the momentum and it's picked everything back up, the belief in this team. And he said it was the juice that we needed. So let's see how far he can go, and can he take the fight to Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, on the pylon you see now Briscoe, that's the 19 off from pit road. He's joined back in about the 19th position with a little bit fresher tires and the cars up the road. I think he has the opportunity to drive his way back into the top 15. And if we do get that yellow, I believe he could stay on the racetrack. Also, McDowell pitted. Slow stop for McDowell. He rejoins way outside the top 30, 44 seconds behind the leader for the driver of the 71.
One back, no run. In line.
Great shot from that Chevrolet cam from Chase Elliott. Shows the elevation changes of this racetrack. Talk about how fast it is. One small mistake and you find yourself in that wall.
And this is a tough day for the driver of the Napa number 9, for a guy who's won back-to-back here at the Glen, 4 road course races in a row in his career. This place is so special with his first win, but sitting in 20th at the moment and still fighting as hard as any of the other guys, right? But 19 positions further back than where you want to be, where you feel you should be.
There's the 19 trying to use those fresher tires. He's to the left side of the 7 of Justin Haley in that Spire car. Spire put 3 cars in the top 10 here a year ago, had great speed in practice. The strategy, the speed, a little bit of the combo platter hasn't quite aligned for them today with Haley running 19th. The 77 spun around before, he's in 26th.
See Riley Herbst right there on the bottom of the racetrack, 35 car. Good day for him so far, 14th.
And for Briscoe, he wants to get through this mess, because if he can get in front of Herbst, I think he can use those tires to his advantage, but he kind of has to tiptoe his way through. So far, he got by the 66. He'll look at Ty Dillon. 3 wide here for Chase Elliott and Haley.
Whoa, look at this. Heading to the bus stop when you're going almost 3 wide, that's sketchy. Nice move, AJ Allmendinger. 19 to go here at the Glen. Go Bowling at the Glen returns, and so too does Brad Keselowski to pit road. Dave?
Had to come in for this last splash of fuel for the day, and also tires. They know they're going to end up in somewhere in the 20s when they leave pit road, but they will have a tire advantage. We'll see how much ground Brad can make up. Now, Brad and wife Paige are expecting child number 4 back at home. Meanwhile, Joey Hand was on hand this weekend, just in case Brad got the call a little bit early. Joey's an expert worldwide road racer hired by Ford Performance back in 2020 to help the development of the next-gen car for Ford. He's here this weekend just in case, but you know who else he's helped? Ryan Blaney, who runs up front, chasing down Van Gisbergen, Buscher, and Byron, trying to make his way to victory lane. Blaney has been one of the best students for Joey Hand. Hand says he is absorbing everything he needs and really applies it on track here. So Joey, a good resource for Ford, and this weekend for Keselowski and for Blaney.
Still very much an active driver too, Dave, in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, as we had a pass during the break. Take a look at this, Chris Buscher. He wants to relive last year and give himself a chance of defending that win and guaranteeing himself a spot in the playoffs, and he went right by William Byron on the approach to the bus stop.
Chris Buscher staying aggressive right here. SVG about 2.5 seconds ahead. You can see him right there. 15 laps to go. Anything can happen.
Well, it was a mistake a year ago by the driver of the 88 getting into that driver's side wall on the right side, getting into the bus stop that allowed the 17 to pass him back. And I think that's the key if you're Buscher, right? You have to stay close enough. This was basically SVG is in that 16 WeatherTech car right there, but right there, he told you, Jeff, he hit that wall with the right front, kind of pulled the wheel out of his hands. He got offline, and then here the 17, a little pushing and shoving, gets his way through. And then a last-ditch impressive effort by the 16 just wasn't going to be had. But my point today is stay close enough. Like, don't let SVG kind of relax. Stay a couple seconds back or try to close the gap if you can. Don't allow the 88 to save tire.
There was a caution with 7 to go last year. Remember when William Byron and Brad Keselowski got together up into the guardrail? Anything can happen with 14 to go here at the Glen.
The other thing is, even though SVG is faster than Buscher, if you get a caution and close them up, we saw Buscher in practice yesterday was fast up the S's, which is why he caught SVG last year.
That's right.
Shane told me, he said, I wasn't going up the S's slow. I just got beaten up there. Buscher then was able to get close to me and kind of forced me into a mistake.
At this stage of the race, we start looking at things like the Xfinity fastest lap. Who has it? Well, unfortunately, the guy who spun with no brakes on lap 5 in car 5, Kyle Larson, spent a lot of time, nearly 20 laps, I think, in the garage area, was able to come back out and grab that point for the race's fastest laps, with saying thanks to Xfinity. All right, when SVG crosses the line this time, there is just 13 to go, so let's take a walk through the field. Marty Snyder, kick us off.
Lee, who would have thought this would be the case a year ago? Shane Van Gisbergen looking at a possible 4th straight road course win, and it's rarefied air. The last driver to do that, Chase Elliott, the driver before that to accomplish that goal, Jeff Gordon, who won 6 in a row. SVG is showing what muscle he has at the road courses right now out front cleanly, Kim.
Yeah, Chris Buscher running in the 2nd position, looking to defend that win here from last year. Remember, during pre-race, Buscher told us winning solves everything in terms of getting into the playoffs. He's in position now if anything happens to SVG, but they haven't given away points today. Remember, they were the stage 1 winner, baked 10 points from that, so they kind of split their strategy. Still running, though, in the 2nd position, Dave.
William Byron runs in 3rd now, and this morning I asked his crew chief, Rudy Fugal, what's your get-home lap today? And he thought about it for a minute. He said, I think we can get home if we pit lap 54. Well, they pitted a lap later than that, so Byron good on fuel and good on speed today. You guys called him one of the better that is coming through the ranks now. His road course game, very, very good. You see right behind him there, Ryan Blaney in the 12 car. A slow pit stop put them back in the queue, but he's still in the game. But the driver, he wasn't very happy about it.
Dave, remember how we started the day talking?
Tighter. Got him. 1040, focus forward. Focus forward, please.
He has focus forward, Marty, and he is right there trying to stay ahead of Bell and Wallace.
Dave, remember how we started the day talking about how Adam Stevens just wanted to build some consistency for Christopher Bell heading into the playoffs. Today is exactly what the doctor ordered. You ride on board with a Toyota on board with Bell, sitting in 5th right now, and they have told him you are consistently faster than Ryan Blaney right in front of you. We can go get 4th easily, Kim.
Well, Bubba Wallace currently running in the 6th position. He's finished top 10 in the last 3 races. His longest top 10 streak in the Cup Series, well, that's 4 races. It happened back in 2022. Looking to match that today. What a bragging point if it happens on a road course. We know they haven't been his strength. A couple laps ago, he said the car was stumbling, so they switched to fuel pump 2. Everything A-okay now for Bubba. As his teammate, Tyler Reddick, runs behind him in the 7th position. Talked with crew chief Billy Scott this morning. Said, man, we have got to find momentum. We had it for a while, then we've lost it recently. Tyler telling me they've been working on their road course program. He was hoping that those work that they have done for the last month would show up today. It has. Currently, again, running in the 7th position, Dave.
Kim, feel free to call this at least partial victory for Daniel Suarez today. When I talked to his crew chief, Matt Swiderski, this morning, I asked, why didn't you even get a 10-lap run in practice? He said, well, we were changing so many things on the car. It was so bad. We just had a lot to do before we got it comfortable for Daniel, but we think it will be good on the long run, which it has been. Suarez running 9th right now, Marty.
Dave, what a day so far for Ryan Preece. Started 17th, and yet they still have earned the 4th most points on the day to this point, and looking at a possible top 10 finish. And I just asked their crew chief, Derek Finley, a moment ago, I said, are you good to the end? Remember, they pitted on the very early side of this window. He said, we're good to the end, and we're good for overtime as well. Preece going to gain a lot of points. We'll see if it really moves the cut line, though, Kim.
Austin Dillon running in the 10th position, and he's coming off a top 10 finish at Iowa. That was the team's first top 10 since Texas back in May. And as you look at his road course kind of resume, he only has 2 top 10s in 43 Cup road course starts. Would love to add another today. Talked with crew chief Richard Boswell, who said, we're really just starting to click. We have potential. It's right there. Guys, it looks like it's starting to show up for this 3 team.
Yeah, that top 10 may get stolen away right here by Chase Briscoe, as it does, but still 2 really productive weeks for the 3 team from Richard Childress Racing. Back to race to the checkered flag. at Watkins Glen. We head short track racing next weekend. Saturday, August 16th, we will see you for Richmond. It's going to be fantastic. Here on USA, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Prior to that, there's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action on FS2 and also the race on FS1 after the practice sessions. And we have got practice and qualifying here for the Cup Series on True TV. So a big weekend next weekend at Richmond. John Hunter Nemechek comes to pit road because of this. What happened heading to the back stretch? Whoa, that is not the place to lose it. That's at about 140 miles an hour. That is wild.
Yeah, just out of the groove, trying to climb the S's. Was there contact?
It was hard to tell looking back. It was definitely uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but part of me thinks it almost had to be contact to get that far out of line.
It was a heck of a save.
Sure was.
That was going to be a big ride at the really high-speed part of the racetrack.
Meanwhile, back up front and leading to the tune of 6 seconds is Shane Van Gisbergen here aboard the WeatherTech Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. Six and a half to go, even a little bit less than that, before this guy can get redemption for what went down last year on that final lap. His teammate Daniel Suarez is running in the top 10, and here's Ross Chastain. So, interesting day for the Trackhouse trio.
Well, I think for Ross Chastain, that big win at the 600 is exactly what this one car needed. He's locked into the playoffs with that win, with now only a couple races remaining after today. So he has to be looking ahead. I actually think his road course racing is only improving, right? I think having SVG in the car, Ross is very humble about trying to learn from him, and here he is running 12th, closing on the back of the 3, Dave.
And Steve, you heard him in practice yesterday when we interviewed him. I loved it. It's the line of the weekend. He said, imagine being me, just an oval track driver, only turned left my whole life, and now I'm chasing down this teammate. Turning left for Brad Keselowski, and he's chasing down his teammate. He's happy to be here. Bad deal for Brad.
Oh, boy.
Flat left rear. He gets to pit road. The tire stays on the car, so I don't see any debris comes off it. But, man, just doing such a nice job. He'll come down to the service of his crew.
He was running 14th at the time.
Yeah, and he's going to come out well outside the top 30. He won't lose a lap, so if he can lucky enough to get a yellow in the next 2 or 3, this will actually be a good break, but those never seem to happen that way when you get the flat tire forcing you to come to pit road.
Disappointing finish here, but a lot to be proud of. The speed they brought this weekend, Marty.
As Keselowski leaves pit road, let's focus up front on Shane Van Gisbergen. We've talked about how he signed a new multi-year contract to stay at Trackhouse Racing. And I spent some time with him this weekend, and I said, why sign a new deal to stay racing in the United States? He said, man, I've been having the time of my life. Even with the tough lessons of the ovals, it's been fun. I really love learning. And he said, I was at the point in Australia, and Lee, you know this, where I needed a new challenge in my career. I had done everything I could do in V8 supercars for 15 years. I just needed something else. So the timing of Justin Marks' call for that one start in Chicago, I had no idea what it would result in, but this is the most fun I've had in racing in a long, long time.
Yeah, it's funny what happens with the people you're surrounded by. Obviously, I mentioned earlier that Shane's good friends with Paul Morris. Paul Morris was really good friends with Boris Said. Boris Said was really good friends with Justin Marks. So you link the dots. Justin said, hey, I'm looking to do something pretty cool. And Boris says, well, why don't you get Shane Van Gisbergen over here? So everybody worked together to give this guy an opportunity to win on debut on the streets of Chicago. And Shane himself thought that was going to be a one and done with the Project 91 part of Trackhouse Racing. That Project 91 has had some phenomenal world-class drivers come and racing the cars, but it's kind of taken a back seat now where the future with some restructuring at the team is taking place, and this guy we know is going to be in this seat for several more years.
Further back in the field, Alex Bowman, we talked about the strategy they have played today to get points. The second lowest amount of points on the day. But the last few laps have not gone well for this team. They are bleeding spots all the way back to 18th. He was 14th a few laps ago. really slow pace. I'm not sure what's going on with this team, this speed, but think about who he's trying to gain points on. Buescher, who is running second. Even though you got all those stage points, you're giving them all back up late in this race.
The opposite side on the pylon, you see Briscoe up to 6th, so he's now closed all the way up to really all the cars available. Blaney 6 seconds up the road will be a challenge for Briscoe. Bell, though, has run down Buescher.
He is flying.
This race has flown by, only 3 cautions, 2 of which were for stage finishes. That one debris caution after we saw a little bit of contact with the 21.
They'll try to apply some pressure to Buescher. See how he can do up the S's, where Buescher's always been so fast. And it helps Buescher so much because if you're not to his rear bumper getting to the inner loop, you can't make a pass there.
Right.
And again, even though Bell is faster on lap time, Buescher is able to beat him up through the S's. Look right here, Bell on corner entry, makes gain, makes even more gain through the inner loop on exit.
Wow, look at this. Right where Buescher made his move on Van Gisbergen a year ago.
Bell, he had his hands full. So here's another passing zone. Buescher was able to leave that corner with a lot of speed, so that takes away an opportunity for Bell. Gains on entry. Kind of breaks even on corner exit. Again, corner entry speed is better. Exit speed about the same, but not quite close enough to make a move.
That drive that Christopher Bell put in at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas earlier this year was smooth, was slick. Just the way that he's finishing here. He's 4 laps fresher tires than Buescher. That makes a difference. Buescher's hanging tough.
You saw what Bell did right there, getting into turn 1. He just wasn't trying to make a pass. He was just trying to get in Buescher's head, make him look in the mirror.
Right.
Make him think about, oh, I'm gonna have to make a block here to keep him from passing me, hoping he'll make a mistake.
If he doesn't have a big correction at the start of the carousel, he's going to be way closer. I don't know if he got in the aero wash, but he right here, he comes out of this bus stop very efficient and low. See if he can get this timed a little bit better. Much cleaner time that time through for Buescher. Top of your screen is SVG, clear track ahead. And he wants to see this white flag dip. The last thing he wants to see is a yellow before.
Well, it's a dramatically different final lap. 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. And instead of seeing a mirror full of other cars, and especially Chris Buescher, he sees a 10-second gap back to Chris Buescher. Very different a year on.
SVG at this point now can just stay in his rhythm. He was very vocal in Mexico when they tried to slow him down. He said, man, if I slow down, I start missing my marks. Let me just do what I do, be who I am. And I would encourage it. The team has leaned into it, and he deserves all the praise he's getting because now he's come to a track where I feel the NASCAR Cup Series drivers have the biggest advantage. They have laps. It is not as technical. It is more high speed. It has everything that I thought would help the 88, but here he is, the 88 leading, the 20 making a move, Jeff.
It's still a good battle for second, side by side, into the inner loop.
Nice.
Bell by him. SVG obviously dominant on road courses, but keep your eye on him because he is improving on the ovals. He is becoming a factor on the ovals, not winning speed yet, but competitive speed.
The day started with Marcus Ambrose, a Glen winner, voicing our show open. Marcus Ambrose encouraged Shane Van Gisbergen to do what he's doing now. SVG does it again, but a year on, he gets redemption and wins at Watkins Glen. Terrific effort from Christopher Bell and the 20 team at Joe Gibbs Racing as Bell gets Buescher on the final lap. Chris will finish 3rd.
Hell yeah, boys. Hell yeah.
Yesterday, Van Gisbergen was in the wall in the Xfinity race. Today, he's going to victory lane for the 4th time. Fourth consecutive road course win and fourth win as a rookie. Steve, for as long as you've been in the sport, that's special.
Very special. He's showing his dominance on the road courses. I agree with Jeff. His ovals continue to improve. He's doing it with absolute humility. Every time he's asked, all he does is talk about how good his competitors are. He's very likable and just a world-class talent on display. It's really as simple as that. And this sort of performance should be celebrated.
No rookie in Cup history has ever won 4 races. And look at that. The Brickyard 400 winner, Bubba Wallace, congratulates him. His teammate Ross Chastain was right behind. He told me this morning he felt a bit beaten up after that big impact in the Xfinity race yesterday. Well, that pain has gone because there's a huge smile under that helmet. And you know what? Really special. Shane lost his mum in recent years, and he hasn't seen his dad since Christmas. He's homesick, and his dad, Robert, is here today. That makes it even more special.
Absolutely. Sharing success with your family makes it that much sweeter.
All of his rivals, all of his competitors, all of his peers know that he's got work to do on the oval, but they know how special he is here on his domain. And we'll see SVG in the playoffs, of course, courtesy of these 4 wins. How far will he go is a question that intrigues him as well. But we'll just sit back and watch. Right now, though, it's time to celebrate.
It's been a long time since we've seen dominance like this in the road courses in the Cup Series, but SVG delivers again. 4th straight. And of course, with every SVG win, there's a rugby ball involved, but the team hugs first. Everybody said this would be where he had the least advantage, less technical road course, but man, incredible speed from this 88 team. Ross Chastain coming in. But maybe the most important hug of all is coming up right after Stephen Doran, his dad, Robert. Gonna autograph the rugby ball for the fans in the stands. All right, Watkins Glen, show them where you want to put this kick. What a day for this race team. Jess coming in as well. And Justin Marks. So does Watkins Glen haunt you no more?
Oh man, good to get that one back. Thank you everyone for coming out. What an awesome race. The last stint was a bit, we cleared out, but the battle coming back through, I had a lot of fun, and thank you to WeatherTech, Trackhouse. Car was just amazing again, and to get another win, and I definitely gave that bus stop wall another meter on that last lap. So, but yeah, awesome.
You lost your mom a while back, and your dad was here today. First time you've seen him since Christmas. Is this one a little more personal?
Oh, it's just amazing to have him here. It's been a very tough year for Dad, and yeah, he hasn't been able to travel, so have him here for the next 3 weeks and share this with him. It's amazing.
If I would have told you as we stood in victory lane at Chicago that you would be standing here, 4 Cup Series wins on the season, a new contract in hand, would you have believed me?
No, but that's the stuff you dream about, right? I'm just a very lucky guy to get to drive for an amazing bunch of people and just execute. Man, the day just went flawlessly, and I can't believe it. Really enjoyed it, and thanks again, everyone.
You have 22 playoff points in the bank now, which is insane to think you would sit right now before it gets reseeded as the number 2 seed. What can this team do in the playoffs? That could carry you into the second round where there is another road course.
Yeah, who knows? But it ain't going to be easy, that's for sure. The first round had some very difficult left-handed tracks for me, but I'm getting better at it, and I'm enjoying myself, and it's a challenge, you know, but that's why we're here, and we'll have a proper crack.
All right, SVG delivers here at the Glen. Finally, after coming so close last year, Lee, he comes through with a win.
We'll have a proper crack. That means have a proper go. Have a real hard go. And look, we've got the Progressive post-race show coming up where we're going to dissect Shane's victory and a whole lot more. Look at those playoff points. Talk more about how the race was won. And redemption at the Glen. It's quite amusing to hear him say, I gave that wall, I gave that guardrail an extra meter, an extra few feet, just to ensure there were no last lap hiccups so he could do this and drive to victory lane. There's so much to unpack from this one. It's another SVG victory. Progressive post-race show coming up. Stick around.
Welcome to the NASCAR America post-race show presented by Progressive. I don't know, DJ, would it have been worth betting the minus 175?
Obviously.
On SVG? I mean, do you win money when it's minus or not?
Oh, yeah, just whatever, you know. It's only if you lose does that one hurt.
My goodness. I mean, you know, every time someone wants to count them out. I mean, I remember going to Sonoma a few weeks ago and everybody was like, that's a track NASCAR driver, a Cup Series drivers? No, there's no way he'll be dominant like that. Coming to Watkins Glen, less technical track. No way he's going to dominate like that. But he delivers every time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to stop asking the question, is he the best road racer in NASCAR racing of all time? I don't know how you can't say that he is not that. I mean, to win, he's not just winning these races by a small margin. You know, the only time that it's a small margin is if you have a late caution, and then he pulls away to whatever he needs to. He does whatever he needs to. Actually, my son Zach sent me a text and said during the race, and he said, is SVG just playing with Blaney, making him think that this is all that he's got and he could do that? I said, yeah, absolutely. I believe you're right, and this is what he does.
He was riding behind him saying, I'm saving my rear tires, just so you know.
Yes, good excuse.
Yeah, here's how the playoff points shape up. I mean, my goodness, SVG up there with the 4 wins, now 22 playoff points stacked in the bank. It's just insane.
It really is. And, you know, the biggest thing, if he can just have clean races to start round 1, he'll find himself in a really good spot.
I know this next guest is very keen on what's happening right at that red line. Chris Buescher gains 12 points today over his teammate Ryan Preece, and we welcome you into the show, Chris. But I tell you what, I mean, the funny part is everyone around the cut line was playing the points game all day long. Bowman, you and your teammate Ryan Preece. So to come out plus 12 probably feels like a pretty good day, I would say.
Yeah, I think I'm really proud of everybody to bring this Build Submarines Mustang back here and have that kind of speed. Obviously last year we didn't have to dive into the points side of things, so we brought a fast race car and made it happen. We had a really fast race car again. Just definitely took the opportunity to capitalize on some big stage points there early. Still got back up into second there, right, and was making some pretty good headway, but just used it up really hard trying to get by a couple of cars and get to that track position, and fell off pretty hard there at the end.
Hey, Chris, great job once again. I mean, I know that this is kind of an obvious thing to say, that being in 16th is in the worst possible spot that you could be. I mean, you want to be inside of that, but playing these races out, from a driver's standpoint, what is your mindset as you go into this? I know you want to win, and you've got 2 good racetracks yet coming up to you, but is that hard to prepare maybe 2 different ways for these races?
Probably. I'm an avid person against points racing, but I do understand our situation at this time. So, we went for those stage points there, and like I said, it still put us in a good spot to be in the contention here, and really still be fighting for a win. Just not close enough. But to head into the next 2 weeks, racetracks that we've won at, certainly not the best place to be, but to put some more points on the board, ultimately that just comes from fast race cars. So go the next 2 weeks, be fast, and it should take care of itself.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, the confidence level going to, as you mentioned, Richmond and Daytona, where you've won these races before coming into the playoffs. So what's the confidence level of the next 2 weeks?
A whole lot higher than it was years back. So, man, Richmond and I used to have this really terrible relationship. So this team over here, they started bringing really fast race cars that made me look good there. So it's turned my outlook around on Richmond, and it makes me really enjoy going there now. And I think I'm excited for next week. I think it's going to be a blast. Head into a Saturday night race under the lights there at Richmond. It's going to be a good one for us. I guarantee it.
Yeah, once again, great job. We're going to let you go. I know it was a long, hard day for you there. Look forward to watching you on Saturday night. Back to kind of your roots, Saturday night short track racing, bud.
That's right. Getting ready to get after it again.
All right, Chris Buescher still above the cut line, gaining a little bit on his teammate Ryan Preece. Christopher Bell, man, what a run at the end of the race. Bell driving up to the second position. Christopher Bell is with Kim.
Christopher Bell comes home in the second position, his best finish since his runner-up in Mexico City. You guys were so good there at the end on the long run. Do you walk away from this race happy?
Happy, yeah. I mean, I'm thrilled because we've been struggling a little bit to find a rhythm, and I feel like the cars have been good. Just trying to execute the races has been tough for us. So really awesome to have a good day. Frustrated to get our butts kicked by the 88 car. He's doing such a really good job. That team's got it going on, and just need to find a little bit more, but extremely happy. It was a good day for our DeWalt Camry.
As you guys prepare for the playoffs, what was learned today that maybe can transfer?
I don't know. I mean, I thought our car performance was really good. Just need to go back and study data. I never really had an opportunity to compare it to the 88, so obviously that last run I felt pretty strong and a lot stronger than the competition. I just don't know how I stacked up against him. So throughout the early part of the race, I did a really bad job on restarts and got swallowed up, and I felt like I had what I needed to finish where we did. I don't know if I could have ran with him, but throughout the first and second stage, just really struggled to get the track position because I couldn't execute the restarts very well. I would try the left lane, the right lane, and I would lose spots every time. So yeah, once it spread out, felt really good, could make passes, and thought we had a lot of positives to take away from our road course program today.
Very solid day here for the 20 team.
It was 6th for Ryan Blaney, just getting nipped at the line there, but I heard the car, your reaction to it, kind of go away in that final run, Ryan. What was going on with the 12?
Just lost speed and handling, and just lost where the track was at probably a little bit, and just lost some pace. So, but overall, really good effort by our whole group, and yeah, I wish we could have finished a few spots better than that, but overall, really good weekend, and proud of the whole effort. And appreciate Menards and Richmond, Ford, Roush Yates Engines for what they do, and yeah, so good showing on a road course for us. I think that program is getting a little bit better, so hard to be too upset about the day.
I was going to say, with the pole, and then Jonathan told me this morning, there's a chance we're going to stack some points today and maybe go off strategy a little bit on folks. So from those two standpoints, are you satisfied?
Yeah, looking at the points board, we scored a lot. So, but yeah, just a good day overall. Like, well executed day, and kept track position all day, and was able to win a stage and still run good, and had 5th until the last corner. So yeah, overall strong weekend by this group.
Hard fought afternoon.
It was hard fought. You could hear it in Blaney's voice. He was out of breath.
Exhausted, yeah.
Yeah, and that was for 5th or 6th, and that shows you how competitive it is. But an interesting comment by him, although not winning pace, feel like an improvement on the road course, and that's important moving forward. You've got to make your road course program better. So not exactly what they were hoping for, but also improvement.
Yeah, he scored a lot of points and got a playoff point there by winning that stage, so a big day for him. Christopher Bell, they needed something good.
Yes.
Marty, we had talked about some people that needed good things to happen, get a little momentum. He was kind of third on the list in my mind, and Christopher Bell went out and did the job. There's just no match for trying to win these races right now. I'm sorry, there's just not that. And it was kind of like Tiger Woods in his day and playing, and kind of Scotty Scheffler right now. But Christopher Bell can compete on every type of racetrack. He has proven that, and I think this was a big day for that team.
Yeah, Adam Stevens' point to me was these are two good tracks for us. We have to take advantage of that and start building something into the playoffs. But at the end of the day, and you heard Christopher Bell talk about it, it was SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen. They could not touch him here this afternoon. Might getting frustrating for the rest of the field, but he wins his 4th straight road course here at Watkins Glen.
We are the ones at the top of the mountain, climbed all the way up and never looked down. If the road wasn't rough, we might not have found the blood and some guts and thousands of hours. We welcome you now to our arena. If you don't know by now, it's hard to beat us. You can tell by our demeanor how hard we leaning. You will remember when you see it in lights. We are the champions. We are the champions. We will fight through the pain. We'll be legends tonight. We are the champions. We are the champions.
This copyrighted television